Apocalypse ruined plants vs. zombies. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 125 Plant Possession. System: Plants vs. Zombies. Level: Farm LV19. Plants: Sunflower X35, Pea Shooter X3, Sunshine Points. 39,917. Planting land. 40 defense value. 500 over 500. Experience value. 640 over 1900. Ability: Extraction, Gold Coin Upgrade, Unlocked Plants: Sunflower, Pea Shooter, Vertical Fruit, Potato Bud, Cabbage Shooter, Frozen Lettuce, Torch Stump, Charm Mushroom, Kiwi, Boomerang Shooter, Vegetable Question, Energy Flower, Fire Dragon Grass, Cherry Bomb, Steel Ground Spike. Electric Green Tea, Corn Pitcher, Mistletoe Ice Fairy, Cactus, Unlocked Blueprints, Gold Coins. 3201. Plant Advancement: Pea Shooter, Level 3, Cabbage Shooter, Level 3, Sunflower, Level 2, Kiwi, Level 2, Nuts, Level 3, Frozen Lettuce, Level 3. Vegetable Question, Level 2, Potato Mine, Level 3, Fire Dragon Grass, Level 3, Cherry Bomb, Level 3, Steel Ground Spike, Level 3, Electric Green Tea, Level 3, Brilliant Light, LV2 Looking. At the experience value at this time, Su Lin made a prompt decision. First, plant the food resources needed by the Thunder Eagle Kingdom. With a wave of his hand, all the plants on the entire land were extracted. Then the pea shooter was planted directly. Ding! Congratulations on planting the pea shooter, consuming 100 sunlight points and gaining 1 experience point. Ding! Congratulations on planting the pea shooter, consuming 100 sunlight points and gaining 2 experience points. With another wave of his hand, all were extracted. Put all the extracted food in the space pocket. Then he planted some cabbage throwers and other plants that can extract food. Every time he planted a plant, he gained a little experience. Relying on this method, the system experience bar kept flashing. Well, it's almost done. Let's plant some frozen lettuce. Frozen lettuce can be said to be the most important of all Su Lin's plants. If you skip a meal, you won't starve to death. But if you don't drink water for a whole day, things will be serious. At present, only frozen lettuce can extract water resources. In the blink of an eye, all the land was planted with frozen lettuce. With another big wave of his hand, Su Lin stuffed all the full water bottles into his space pocket in one breath. 4,000 kilograms of food resources. Su Lin doesn't have that free space to put it. It's better to put it in the space pocket. Finally, through this method of continuous planting and continuous extraction, finally upgraded. Ding! Congratulations on the upgrade. Ding! Congratulations on upgrading to LV20. Ding! Congratulations on the upgrade of Brilliant Light. LV3. Ding! LV3 Brilliant Light can accommodate up to 20 people at a time. The upgrade of Brilliant Light was expected. After all, Brilliant Light was upgraded when the farm was LV10. 20 people. I can't even get 10 people together now. Su Lin rolled his eyes. He began to think about whether to take in more people. But as the number of people increases, Su Lin pursed his lips. A plan was slowly born in his mind. With more people, you have to manage. And people like Su Lin who are not at home every day should forget it. Maybe occasionally let the other partners share the burden. Su Lin shook his head and said, let's talk about it later. Now it's level 20. What about the changes that the system said? Ding! Congratulations on reaching LV20 and gaining the ability Plant Possession. Ding! Due to the acquisition of Plant Possession, the golden beans automatically obtained during the day have increased from the original 3 to 5. Plant Possession? Wait. 5? Question mark? 1 golden bean can be used to use the plant's ultimate move once. In this way, the plant's ultimate move can be used 5 times. Just thinking about it makes me excited. But what exactly is this Plant Possession? It feels a bit weird and a bit creepy. Su Lin frowned and clicked on the description of this ability. After seeing it, Su Lin was stunned. Wow, isn't it? In this case, do those psychics who are showing off outside have any way out? This so-called plant possession effect is actually very simple. Su Lin can use the plant's ultimate move anytime and anywhere. Of course, this anytime and anywhere refers to the use of golden beans. In other words, Su Lin can finally stop relying too much on this mana. Although there are only 5 chances, but it is more than enough. Even Su Lin can go directly to the Vulcan fortress to cause trouble. No need to wait for others to cause trouble for him like before, when he could only sit and wait. However, the power of the ultimate move used by this plant possession is proportional to the distance from the plant. If you want to use the effect of ice and fire that covers the entire world, you have to be closer. But it's enough. 5 times, 5 chances, enough for me to do whatever I want outside. Ha ha ha. Now, in addition to the pistol, Su Lin also has a life-saving method. It can even be said to be an offensive method. That's so refreshing. TSK. It makes me want to go out and set up a formation now. It's different to be able to take the initiative. When the sun rises tomorrow, I will hold my head high and go find trouble with those people outside. After some exploration, Su Lin became familiar with the specific usage of plant possession. The next step is to wait for the right time to try it out. The resources promised to Leitao are almost ready, and they have also been upgraded. While there are still enough sunshine points left, Su Lin plans to do a big thing that he has wanted to do for a long time, but couldn't do because of too few sunshine points. This time, I want a 4th level plant. With a wave of his hand, he used the remaining Yangwen points to upgrade the gold coins. All of them were converted into gold coins. Afterwards, Su Lin did some operations and entered the interface of plant advancement in his brain consciousness. He came to the pea shooter. At this time, he was already a 3rd level pea shooter, and he had no idea what kind of surprise he would encounter. In the process of plant advancement, the 2nd level is the most basic. It can unlock the first ability and also increase the attack and defense attributes by 50%. The second ability obtained in the 3rd stage is often aimed at the first ability and strengthens it. Just like the pea shooter, its 2nd level ability is pea burst. There is a certain probability of bursting peas. The 3rd level ability is pea loading, greatly increasing the probability of pea burst. There are also some plants whose 3rd level ability is to obtain another ability again. However, they are basically a kind of enhancement of the original plant characteristics. Only the 4th level is different. Once a plant advances to the 4th stage, it will enter a new realm. Because the ability of the 4th stage is chapter 126, level 4, pea shooter. Ding, congratulations on the successful advancement of pea shooter. Ding, congratulations on obtaining pea shooter, level 4. Ding, congratulations on obtaining the first level 4 plant. Received 1000 gold coins. 5000 sunshine points. Hey, this is great. I'm really looking forward to the zombies tonight. When I encounter the 4th level pea shooter again, will it cry and curse on the spot and clamor to leave here? Tut tut, when I thought that no matter what kind of zombies tonight, as long as it came, Su Lin would directly plant the pea shooter. At the moment, when the pea shooter broke out of the ground, it did not need any preparation time. There was a certain probability it would directly make a burst of puff 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 puff. Yes, that's right. When any plant advances to the 4th level, the new abilities it obtains are the same, all of which are ability awakening. After successful planting, there is a certain probability that it will directly release a big move. Yes, no energy beans are needed, just use a big move. No matter what plant it is, it's like this. That's why Su Lin is so looking forward to having a 4th level plant. Think about it. The soldiers and ammunition are out of food and even the energy beans are gone. At this time, the sunlight points are only enough for 1 plant. Just flick your hand and a 4th level plant will go up. With a puff, the big move is directly released to eliminate the final crisis. That's so cool and handsome. Ha ha ha. I hope there will be zombies tonight. After laughing, Su Lin walked into the house and began to look forward to the zombies tonight. After all, there were no zombies last night, which made Su Lin a little upset. Soon, Liang Crossing also came back. This time she was alone. Seeing her hurried look, she ate a few mouthfuls of food and started to work. She worked frantically on the computer and notebook, and Su Lin was not idle either. The first 4th level plant also brought him some sunshine points and gold coins. Just go all out. Continue to upgrade the plants. Anyway, the consumption required for the 4th level plant will not be solved in a short time. It's a rare opportunity, but the 2nd level and 3rd level plants can still be fought for. System: Plants vs. Zombies level, Farm LV20, Plants, Sunflowers x35, Pea Shooters x3, Sunshine Points. 50-50, Planting Land. 40 Defense Value. 500 over 500, Experience Value. 10 over 2000, Abilities, Extraction, Gold Coin Upgrade, Plant Possession, Unlocked Plants, Sunflower, Pea Shooter, Vertical Fruit, Potato Bud, Cabbage Shooter, Frozen Lettuce, Torch Stump, Charm Mushroom, Kiwi, Boomerang Shooter, Vegetable Question, Energy Flower, Fire Dragon Grass, Cherry Bomb. Steel Ground Spike, Electric Green Tea, Corn Pitcher, Mistletoe Ice Fairy, Cactus, Unlocked Blueprints, Gold Coins. 1000. Plant Advancement, Pea Shooter, Level 4, Cabbage Shooter, Level 3, Sunflower, Level 2, Kiwi, Level 2, Nuts, Level 3, Frozen Lettuce, Level 3. Vegetable Question, Level 2, Potato Mine, Level 3, Fire Dragon Grass, Level 3, Cherry Bomb, Level 3, Steel Ground Spike, Level 3, Electric Green Tea, Level 3, Dazzling Light, LV3, it's a gold coin upgrade at your fingertips. After transforming all the sunshine points to gold coin. Ding ding, congratulations to advanced success. 3 plants have just been obtained. All of them have been given to the zombies in order to better deal with these levels, and he has made the corn pitcher into the 3rd order plant. It turns out that this kind of active attack plant that needs to be controlled by Su Lin has the problem of long charging time. If you can reduce it by 1 second, it is 1 second. It can exert its powerful destructive power faster. The corn pitcher has even gained a new ability, which is the corn missile. It makes the corn pitcher attack 5 times. Every time the corn pitcher attacks 5 times, it shrinks its body slightly, and then with a puff, it sprays a corn missile from the top of its head, causing great damage to the enemy. Quick reload is easy to understand, directly reducing the number of attacks required for the corn missile to be launched by 2. That is to say, it can be triggered once every 3 attacks. By then, I'm afraid that all the zombies will be blown up and screaming. The ability of electric spikes is equivalent to a passive effect, which makes the cactus's spike attack have a lightning effect, and there is a chance to paralyze the enemy. It seems a bit useless, and the damage is not increased at all. But it is also an extremely rare paralysis effect among the plants owned by Su Lin. After paralyzing the zombies, they will have to stay where they are and be beaten by the plants. All the advancements are finished. Su Lin stretched his body and glanced at Liang Crossing, who was still writing furiously. What have you been writing since you came back? The rules and regulations of the organization, the development vision, and the information of the surrounding cities. Su Lin rolled his eyes. It was so troublesome. It's okay. It's okay. Liang Crossing smiled and waved his hand. When the time comes, I will give you the sorted information of surrounding cities. Su Lin raised his eyebrows. Oh? He sensed confidence in Liang Crossing's words. It seems that Liang Crossing has made sufficient preparations in this regard. Trust me. Liang Crossing patted his chest. My biggest effort in the past 2 days is to get the information of the surrounding cities firmly grasped. Really? Su Lin smiled. When he went out in the past, his purpose was clear, which was to find materials. His understanding of the situation in the city was all what he saw and heard. He did not go out of his way to collect intelligence. If it was really as Liang Crossing said, then he would have saved time on collecting intelligence. Of course, why don't you look at who I'm? Liang Crossing raised his head proudly. He looked so proud and glamorous. Su Lin was fascinated by him. Su Lin thought to himself, Liang Crossing is so different from before. As expected, a woman who has a firm goal and works hard for it has a different kind of charm. Okay. Su Lin stood up. You continue to be busy. I'm going to prepare to welcome tonight's guests. Then I wish you have guests tonight, and they are easy to deal with. Liang Crossing naturally understood what the so-called guests meant. They just refer to zombies. Chapter 127. 12 levels. Thank you. Su Lin shrugged. Alone, he sat on the chair at the entrance. The zombie's absence last night gave him a psychological shock, especially when he realized that the zombie's attack was not absolute. His heart seemed to be missing a piece. He still had the mentality of I'm not afraid of him not coming, I'm afraid of him messing around. Time ticked by. Finally, when Su Lin was so nervous that his heart was beating in his throat, a series of dong 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 sounds came. Su Lin jumped up from the bench with a start. Then came ding, the 12th level. Zombies are attacking. Please be prepared. The number of zombies *40 ding. Please note that this level is in zero mode ding. Please note that pirates are starting to board the ship. Ding. Please note that, because of the appearance of pirate zombies, they have temporarily stolen the land. Ding. Please note that in Area C, the land from the 8th to the 6th row has all been stolen. For some reason. Su Lin breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately there are zombies, otherwise tonight would be another lonely night. Su Lin might have to continue sitting on the wife waiting rock. Ding. Please pay attention. New zombies are coming. Pirate Captain Zombie, Zombie Parrot, and Pirate Giant Zombie. The Pirate Captain Zombie is not actually a captain. He just took the wrong clothes in the laundry room. But he thinks it's cool to wear an eye patch, and the parrot is just a friend of his. Out of courtesy, it just cooperates. When he heard the Pirate Captain Zombie, new and old grudges came directly to his head. Su Lin's eyes widened. The land in these recent levels has been stolen by the pirates. There is a reason for every grievance. Finally, I met this Pirate Captain Zombie. God knows if it is related to him. Fight first. But Su Lin also knows this Pirate Captain Zombie is not easy to deal with. To be more precise, it is the zombie parrot that appeared with the Pirate Captain Zombie. The zombie parrot is a revolutionary 3rd generation Air Force fighter. It hopes to fight side by side with its pirate brothers, just like its father and grandmother. In fact, the Pirate Captain Zombie itself is nothing special. But when it appears, it will release a zombie parrot every 10 seconds. Of course, after it dies, the zombie parrot will run away directly. It's just that this zombie parrot is really tricky. After it is released, it will fly to the rightmost plant in any row, steal the plant, and return to the captain, repeating this process until one of the parrot and the captain dies. This is exactly where it gets tricky. Stealing plants directly is useless. Although this flying zombie will be killed instantly by the butter of the corn pitcher, the best way is to eliminate the pirate captain, the owner of the parrot, as soon as possible. Otherwise, you will only face countless parrot zombies. Once they form a formation, who knows how many plants they will steal. As for the pirate giant zombie, it's a bit excessive. The raging waves can't stop this giant. It comes from the bottomless abyss, has infinite strength, and also likes tuna sushi. It is huge in size, and it is extremely powerful. Attack power. It can kill the current strongest defense nut in seconds. Defense power. You can tell by its size. Standing there, it is like a small mountain. It holds a man-eating shark, and can attack all plants. And when the blood volume drops to a certain level, it will launch a pirate imp zombie 3 squares in front of the field. It is already enough to entangle, and it has such a special ability. It is very difficult, but Su Lin is not afraid at all. At hand, he has the 4th level plant pea shooter, not to mention the strongest trump card tactical cucumber. Afraid? That doesn't exist. Pushing the door out, Su Lin planted the sunflower. Sunflowers are always the plants that are planted at the beginning. In zero mode, without sunflowers, there is nothing. When the first ordinary zombie appeared with heavy steps, Su Lin had already planted 2 sunflowers. Logically, the offensive plants were about to appear, but Su Lin did not. After waiting for the cooling time to end, he threw another sunflower. Just like that, sunflowers were planted in the first row. The first zombie came to the 5th row of area A. 3 zombies also appeared in the same area, which was in danger. Not to mention, zombies also appeared in areas D and E, even if there was no means of attack. Su Lin was not in a hurry, and even a confident smile was rippling on the corners of his mouth. Hey, come on. He threw his hand and planted the pea shooter in the second row of area A. The situation that Su Lin had been waiting for a long time appeared. When the pea shooter broke out of the ground, a burst of puff, puff puff passed by. The characteristics of the 4th level plant were successfully triggered, and planting would have a big move. Countless peas whizzed away. The first zombie was killed instantly, and the 2 that followed were killed one by one. The beginning was a big move. What a feeling. It was so cool. Moreover, the cooldown time of the pea shooter was very short. In an instant, Su Lin planted the pea shooter again on the second row of area D. However, it did not directly trigger the ability of the 4th level plant. Planting triggers the big move. However, the pea shooter that broke out of the ground also fired a burst of peas, beating the zombies in area D so badly. Both arms were broken. Finally, the second row of area E was naturally a pea shooter. This time it was triggered successfully, and a big move was called over, killing all the zombies in area E. This triggering probability is not bad. TSK, I won't plant the ones in area B for now, and wait for the zombies to come out. But area C. Su Lin planted the corn pitcher in the second row of area C without hesitation. Although there were no zombies in area C yet. But as the saying goes, it's better to be prepared. Zombies are bound to attack. Let's plant them first. The 8th to 6th rows in area C have been stolen by the pirates. You can guess what kind of zombies will appear in this area. Zipline zombies, seagull zombies, and imp zombie cannons. Corn pitchers are the best choice to deal with them. Sure enough, a seagull, holding a tied zombie, came slowly. The seagull looked smug and arrogant. However, the next moment, it fell into the pitch black hole with a plop. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 128, Proper Preparations. When the seagull zombie appeared, the corn pitcher also entered the combat state, first throwing a small corn. With a pop, it hit the seagull's head, causing some damage. But, following closely, the corn pitcher triggered the chance to throw butter. A square of butter swung through the air, accurately hit the seagull's head. What a coincidence. The special ability of this little butter is to target bird zombies, which can kill bird zombies instantly. The corn pitcher has 2 attack methods in total, and butter has a 25% triggering chance. In order to deal with the seagull zombies, there are also the next parrot zombies. The corn pitcher can be said to be very important. In order to deal with the ordinary zombies that just appeared in area B, Su Lin threw his hand and planted pea shooters in the second row of area B in this way. The second row of areas are all planted with attack type plants. The first step of the offensive and defensive line was successfully completed. Then the next step is, Su Lin pursed his lips. If the sunlight points are sufficient, directly planted corn pitcher in the third row of area C, and planted torch crown in the fourth row. In this way, the heavy firepower attack and defense line was completed. However, the sunlight points were not sufficient, so we had to behave according to the position where the attacking zombies appeared. The second round of zombies appeared in areas A, B, and D. There was also a barrel rolling zombie. In order to welcome this invincible zombie, Su Lin directly planted steel ground spikes in the 8th row of area B where it appeared. Then he planted corn pitcher in the 3rd row of areas A and D. The seagull zombie appeared again, but this time, it appeared in areas A and D. The peas shot by the pea shooter only attacked the poor zombie held by the seagull. It was a temporary solution, not a permanent solution. The corn pitcher attacked accurately, aiming at the culprit, the seagull, and attacked frantically. However, it never triggered butter, only corn. Only in the middle position did he completely kill the seagull zombie. TSK. It's worthy of being a second level zombie. According to the normal attack rhythm, it takes some effort to kill it. But when my formation is complete, there should be no need to worry. As for the barrel zombie, when its front foot just stepped into the 8th row of area B, it was directly pierced by the sharp thorns on the steel spikes. After sacrificing a steel spike, the wooden barrel cracked with a click. 2 little ghost zombies jumped out of the barrel. One was lucky and jumped to area A, the other was unlucky. With a plop, it fell to area C, a piece of black hole area, and it was directly gone. The little ghost zombie that jumped to area A was not so lucky. Su Lin had already planted the torch crown in the 4th row of area A waiting for the little ghost zombie. In addition to corn, there are also flame peas. I'm afraid that the little ghost zombie squatting in the barrel, waiting for a long time, would never have thought that the personal show he had been waiting for a long time would directly appear at the peak and be destroyed. Gradually, Su Lin steadied his feet. Even the torch crown was planted. Flame peas, corn, or butter, combined with each other, beat the zombies back step by step. For the time being, this can already resist the zombie wave. I don't know what kind of surprises the new zombies will bring. Just when Su Lin was thinking about this, as expected, the new zombies came. Ding, please pay attention. Captain zombies and parrot zombies are attacking. Not only these zombies appeared, even in area C, 2 little ghost zombie cannons appeared. Seeing the appearance of the little ghost zombie cannons, Su Lin planted nuts in the 5th row of area C, where the little ghosts landed directly. Why bother so much? As long as the artillery dares to fire, the poor little ghost will be rejected by the nuts. It stayed in front of the nut obediently. At the same time, in order to enhance the firepower coverage of area C, Su Lin planted the electric green tea directly in the 4th row of area C. In this way, the little ghosts bathing in the gunfire not only have to bear the attack of the corn pitcher, but also have to endure the sizzling electric current. Of course, it is only a temporary solution. If the little ghost zombie cannon far away at the edge of area C is not solved, more little ghosts will appear. The 3rd row of area C must belong to the cactus. It has a penetrating attack ability. After attacking the little ghost, it penetrated and stabbed directly at the little ghost zombie cannon behind. I'm afraid that the little ghost at this time will regret it and dare not jump out of the barrel. The parrot zombie flapped its wings and jumped directly from the shoulder of the captain zombie. They flew to the plants in front of them. The captain zombie is still very smart. They don't walk at the front of the zombie team. In this way, it is difficult for Su Lin to eliminate them quickly. The parrot zombies in areas A and B are unlucky. The corn pitcher triggered the butter attack. It killed the parrot zombie instantly. Butter against bird zombies is an instant kill. But in areas D and E, it attacked 4 times in a row, but butter was not triggered. Su Lin could only watch the parrot zombie take away a corn pitcher and a torch crown. The torch crown is okay, but it's troublesome without the corn pitcher. Su Lin quickly planted the corn pitcher. As for area E, after thinking about the vacant position of the torch crown again and again, Su Lin planted the cactus. It has a penetrating attack, and it can attack the zombies in front, while causing damage to the captain zombies in the back row. Not to mention, the 2nd level cactus has the effect of paralysis attack. The spikes fired out, with a sizzling electric current, penetrated through the zombies, giving them a numb feeling. Seeing that the cactus was so effective, Su Lin also planted cacti in other areas one by one. In this way, the corn pitcher has a certain chance to kill the parrot zombies. Secondly, the cactus can also cause continuous damage to the captain zombies in the back row. Easily deal with it. With a glance, there are enough sunlight points. Su Lin also gritted his teeth and planted the most expensive plant at present, the mistletoe ice fairy. Chapter 129, Ice Beauty, Mistletoe Ice Fairy. When the mistletoe ice fairy broke out of the ground, a chilly and penetrating feeling suddenly spread in the air, and I shivered with cold. Just like an ice beauty, the mistletoe ice fairy stood in the 5th row of area A. Although this position is relatively forward and not suitable for plants like her, there is no other way. The safe back row is basically full. She can only be wronged. The mistletoe ice fairy is short, like a flower fairy that has emerged from a flower. With a smile on her face, her swaying dance is full of endless joy. But only Su Lin knows that this joy is full of murderous intent. Coincidentally, a tough opponent appeared in area E, iron barrel zombie. A zombie with an iron barrel on its head to enhance its defense. Even the 4th level pea shooter at this stage, without triggering the planting big move, it takes some time to defeat the 2nd level iron barrel zombie. By the time it is completely killed, the barrel zombies can move from the 8th row to the 6th or 7th row. Single combat? Of course there is no problem. If the front line is long enough, Su Lin is confident that he can single out any zombies with only the pea shooter, except for giant zombies. But zombies win in numbers. As long as the troops are well deployed, the front is full of suicide squads like zombies who are sent to die. And the powerful zombies rely on the back and move forward slowly. For plants, it will be a disaster at that time. So as long as zombies appear, we must concentrate firepower and solve them quickly. Otherwise, when the zombies gather, it will be troublesome. Su Lin waved his hand and began to control the mistletoe ice fairy through his consciousness. When his consciousness was connected with the mistletoe ice fairy, he shivered and felt cold. But this chill soon dissipated. The mistletoe ice fairy even turned to Su Lin and blinked at him. She was confused, and it seemed that she finally reacted to what was going on. She immediately stopped resisting and obediently accepted Su Lin's contact with her consciousness. After completely controlling the mistletoe ice fairy, Su Lin's mind emerged. A large piece of land in front of him. Except for the land stolen by the pirates, the rest of the land can be selected. Su Lin waved his hand and chose the 7th row of the area. I saw that the hands of the mistletoe ice fairy were originally accumulating a small white ice ball. When Su Lin finished her choice, she raised her big hand and smashed the small ice ball into the air. The next moment, the small ice ball fell down. But this time, it appeared in the 7th row of the area. Peng. The small ice ball exploded directly. In the 3x3 attack range, there were 2 ordinary zombies, 1 iron barrel zombie, and even 2 barrel zombies. But they were all destroyed by the attack of the mistletoe ice fairy. Instant kill. Merciless instant kill. Viscera ice fairy is obviously Su Lin's strongest plant at this stage. Although cherry bomb is more cost effective, it only has 150 sunlight points. But after all, it is a disposable plant. After it explodes, it will be gone. Although the 400 sunlight points of Viscera Ice Fairy are expensive, they can always exist. However, after one attack, Viscera Ice Fairy continued to stretch out her hands, secretly rubbing the air. A small ice ball appeared. But the Viscera Ice Fairy continued to rub, and the small ice ball, surprisingly, grew slowly at a speed that could not be seen by the naked eye. This is also a disadvantage of Viscera Ice Fairy. After one attack, the next charge attack will have to wait until the year of the monkey and the month of the horse. However, the attack range of Vesicle Ice Fairy is unlimited. Su Lin hits wherever he points. As long as the cooperation is proper, it will definitely play an important role. Just when Su Lin felt that he had strategized everything, the system's prompt woke him up. Ding, please pay attention. A new type of zombie, the pirate giant zombie is coming. Watch out for your head. It's about to hit the ground. You're the one that's about to hit the ground. Su Lin rolled his eyes and felt waves coming from the ground. Bang, bang, bang. 1, 2, 3 times. That was a small earthquake caused by the heavy body stepping on the ground. Looking around, a figure like a hill appeared in the dark night. It was blue all over. It was about 2 or 3 meters tall. It was wearing a blue striped sailor vest. The headscarf on its head was a little exaggeratedly small. On its back, it was carrying a basket with a chirping little ghost zombie inside. The most bizarre thing was perhaps the thing in his hand, which was a shark. The pirate giant zombie grabbed the shark's tail. I'm afraid he used the shark as a weapon. A shark sword? Question mark? It appeared in the B area. The first plant it faced was the steel ground spike. After being rolled over by the barrel zombie, it still had 2 steel spikes left, and its body was still strong. But it couldn't withstand the heavy step of the pirate giant zombie. The moment it stepped on it, the steel ground spikes disappeared. Su Lin's mouth twitched. It would have been fine if the pirate giant zombie had shoes, but he didn't wear shoes at all. The steel ground spikes were just stepped on. How thick must his feet be? Su Lin planted the nut in the 7th row. When the nut broke out of the soil, it blinked its cute eyes. I thought I could finally breathe fresh air, but I didn't expect that this monster was in front of me. The pirate giant zombie threw the shark in his hand and smashed it on the head of the nut. Even though the nut was not damaged at all, it was killed instantly. But at the same time, it also triggered the nutshell shattering, which directly blew the pirate giant zombie back several steps. This is also the effect Su Lin wanted. He didn't expect the nut to last long. It was a plant, and it would be killed instantly in front of the pirate giant zombie. After triggering the nutshell shattering, some time can be gained. Let the plants in the back row have enough time to continue attacking the pirate giant zombie. Come just in time. Su Lin checked the energy beans he currently has. A full 3. If not now, when? Save for the new year? Question mark? The ultimate move of the mistletoe ice fairy is, when the energy beans are used on the mistletoe ice fairy, she raised her hands and pointed both hands at the sky, instilled her own ice energy into the dark night. Then came hail. Countless hail fell from the sky. They fell on the zombies' heads. Except for the giant pirate zombie, all the zombies could not withstand the attack of the hail. It was just cleared. TSK, so powerful, but there is another big guy, that is. Su Lin used the second energy bean on the pea shooter. Chapter 130 Pirate Giant Zombie. Naturally, it was the pea shooter in Area B. The peas that passed by, after touching the torch crown, were wrapped in flames, and turned into flame peas. They smashed into the pirate giant zombie one by one. But, even so, the pirate giant zombie was still strong. However, when it was halfway attacked by the flame peas, its health also plummeted to a dangerous level. In a hurry, it stretched its other hand to its back. It directly took out several little ghosts from the basket and smashed them hard in front. But unfortunately, if the pirate giant zombie went out at the beginning, Su Lin would definitely not have any room for resistance. Earlier, his plant formation had not been spread out. He would only let the zombies manipulate. But now, the little ghost zombies have not landed successfully. All the plants that entered the attack range began a fierce offensive. They vowed not to let the little ghost zombies step out of 2 squares. In the end, the pirate giant zombie only managed to hold out to the 6th row, and then it died with a whine. Su Lin didn't plan to waste the last energy bean left. The system didn't even prompt the last wave of zombies. Let this pirate giant zombie show off to the 6th row. Ding, the last wave of zombies is coming. Get ready to change your pants. Otherwise you'll be scared to pee. Just as Su Lin rolled his eyes and was about to complain, he couldn't help but twitch his mouth, staring straight ahead, and really had to prepare to take off his pants. This zombie tide, is it poisonous? Question mark. The overwhelming zombies came towards Su Lin with their teeth and claws bared. Not to mention those ordinary zombies. Area C. A full 5 immortal zombie cannons and 3 zipline zombies have already rushed over, and it is said that 4 seagull zombies have appeared. The situation in the other 4 areas is not optimistic either. A and B even have barrel rolling zombies. D. E. The arrival of the 2 flag zombies means that more zombies will emerge behind them. This is still a barely acceptable situation. What is unacceptable is that there is a pirate giant zombie in each of the 4 major areas, A, B, D, and E. 4 pirate giant zombies. They are all at the end of the zombie wave, showing cruel smiles. Idiot. Su Lin rolled his eyes. You are still laughing so arrogantly, and don't think about it. If the troops are deployed well, the pirate giant zombies should stand in the front, resisting most of the damage, allowing the weaker zombies to advance to more places. Although there are dangers everywhere, Su Lin is not afraid at all. Fear? That does not exist. Not to mention that there is an energy flower in hand to provide energy beans. There is also a tactical cucumber to cover the bottom. What is there to be afraid of? Su Lin quickly planted an energy flower. As the saying goes, flowers bloom and fall. The energy flower that broke out of the ground was like a flash in the pan, blooming and quickly withering and disappearing. It's just that Su Lin's energy beans have changed from 1 to 2. The cooling time of the energy flower can be said to be the longest at this stage. After planting this one, Su Lin doesn't plan to plant another one. The next step is to actively deal with it. First, the steel ground spike was planted in the 8th row of area A with a pop. The barrel rolling zombie was first solved. Let its wooden barrel explode. At the same time, nuts were planted in the 7th row of area A. Use them to resist the invasion of zombies. As for the barrel rolling zombies in area B, we can only wait. Wait for the cooling time of the steel ground spike. But at this time, Su Lin's attention is all on the captain zombie. To be more precise, it is the parrot zombie on the shoulder of the captain zombie. This kind of zombie can directly carry away the plants owned by Su Lin. If you are not careful, I'm afraid that all the plants will be carried away. This is a big trouble. So Su Lin is waiting. While waiting for the corn pitcher to trigger the butter attack, thus instantly killing the parrot zombie. While waiting for the parrot zombie's attack. No, the parrot zombie is about to take the plants away. We can't wait any longer. Do it now. As soon as the voice fell, Su Lin directly used the energy beans on the corn pitcher. With a poo sound, the corn pitcher exploded like popcorn. From its handle, with a bang, a lot of butter burst out. Large chunks of butter were directly smeared on the zombies' faces. Not to mention the bird zombies, the parrot zombies and seagull zombies were instantly killed. As for the other zombies, after being smeared on the face by butter, they stood straight in place, as if they were cast into a spell of immobilization, unable to move. The ultimate move of the corn pitcher is to release a giant butter. It can also make them lose their sight, and make it difficult to move. However, with such an overwhelming attack, the damage is naturally less. Su Lin didn't plan to expect this big move to kill many zombies. As long as he could kill the annoying bird zombie, it would be fine. We don't need to worry too much about Area C. Although there are so many little ghost zombie cannons. But as long as the nuts are there, we can resist. The corn pitcher and the cactus are enough to give them a pot of food. Not to mention that, as soon as they get ashore, there is also electric green tea waiting for them. Hey, that's it. Looking at Area B, the barrel zombie has pushed the wooden barrel to the 6th row, and is about to crush the nut in front. Su Lin hurriedly looked at the steel spikes. The cooling time is over, and it can be planted. Arrange the steel spikes directly in the 6th row. Ding. With the loss of a steel spike, the barrel was successfully pierced. In this way, the barrel zombie is no longer a threat, but it's a pity for the steel spikes in Area A as the front line advances. The pirate giant zombie has stepped on the steel spikes, stomped the steel spikes to pieces. Looking at the arrogant look of the pirate giant zombie, Su Lin rolled his eyes and said, "What arrogance? I'll give you 2 explosions." Anyway, the pirate giant zombies in Areas A and B are coming side by side. So Su Lin directly controlled the mistletoe ice fairy and smashed the ice bomb that had been fully charged at the pirate giant zombie in Area A. Peng. As expected of a pirate giant zombie, all the zombies around him died, but he was still standing strong. However, Su Lin threw the cherry bomb on him. Boom. Another explosion. Still not dead. But obviously, the health is in danger, and they have begun to throw out the imp zombies. Areas AB are almost done, then it's the Ed area. Chapter 131, The Magical Uses of Tier 4 Plants. After all, there are flag zombies. It's inevitable. The number of zombies is the largest at present. Plus the pirate giant zombie that is showing off behind. It is the difficulty that Su Lin needs to face most at this time. Thinking of this, Su Lin grinned. Come on, stupid idiot. The D area is basically full. It is difficult to plant plants. But it is not difficult for Su Lin. He waved his hand and chose to extract. Extract all the 2 pea shooters in the 2nd row. At this time, no food can be extracted, only a few sunlight points. But Su Lin's purpose is not here, but to continue planting. The 2nd row of the E area, plant pea shooters. The unlucky expected situation did not appear. Keep going. 3, 2, 1, 0 exclamation point. Su Lin stared at the cooling time of the pea shooter nervously. The countdown is over. He continued to plant pea shooters without stopping. The 2nd row of the D area. This time, it succeeded. Triggered the effect of the 4th stage. Plant the ultimate move. Puff 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 puff. Countless peas sprayed out. Covered with flames, they directly hit the zombies in front. Ordinary zombies, flag zombies, barrel zombies, all of them are no problem. But when they attacked the pirate giant zombie, they also stopped firing. After all, the flame peas had been used up in the previous attack. And Su Lin continued to extract and took away the pea shooter in Area D at the same time. He used the energy beans on the pea shooter in Area E this time. Luck was better. At least 5 flame peas attacked the pirate giant zombie. But as always, extract. Area D, plant. No trigger. Directly extract. The cooling time is up, and the E area is planted again. Triggered. This is simply playing tricks. Su Lin kept planting, extracting, waiting for the cooling time, and planting again. The purpose is to trigger the characteristics of the 4th stage plants. Plant the ultimate move. Anyway, the energy beans are gone now. The energy flower is still in the cooling time. The pea shooter only needs 100 sunlight points. Weighing the pros and cons, it is definitely more cost effective to continuously plant the pea shooter. Soon, after 5 or 6 rounds of such cheating operations, the pirate giant zombie has also come to the 4th row. However, that represents the pace of death. With a plop, when the huge body of the pirate giant zombie hit the ground, there were bursts of gunpowder smoke and a slight earthquake. Not only in the D area, but also in the AB area, the pirate giant zombie has been eliminated. While Su Lin focused on planting the pea shooter, he did not forget to control the mistletoe ice fairy. During this period, he threw the cherry bomb again. Together with the efforts of other plants, they were also eliminated. Ding, congratulations on clearing the 12th level. Ding, cleared the level successfully and obtained 1000 sunshine points. Ding, obtained 1000 experience points. Ding, obtained 800 gold coins. Ding, congratulations on unlocking lightning reed and ice shooter system. Plants vs. Zombies level, farm LV20, plants, sunflower X5, pea shooter X3, corn pitcher X5, mistletoe ice fairy X1, cactus X1, sunshine points. 6987, planted land. 40 defense value. 500 over 500, experience value. 1210/2000, abilities, extraction, gold upgrade, plant possession, unlocked plants, sunflower, pea shooter, nuts, potato butts, cabbage shooter, frozen lettuce, torch stump, charm mushroom, kiwi, boomerang shooter, vegetable question, energy flower, fire dragon grass, cherry bomb, steel ground spike, electric green tea, corn pitcher, mistletoe ice fairy, cactus, unlocked blueprints, lightning reed, ice shooter, gold coins. 897, plant advancement, pea shooter, level 4, cabbage shooter, level 3, sunflower, level 2, kiwi, level 2, nuts, level 3, frozen lettuce, level 3. Vegetable question, level 2, potato mine, level 3, fire dragon grass, level 3, cherry bomb, level 3, steel ground spike, level 3, electric green tea, level 3, mistletoe ice fairy, level 2. Corn pitcher, level 3, cactus, level 2, brilliant light, LV3, ding, congratulations on passing the 12th level. Su Lin raised his eyebrows. What? Is the system now popular to celebrate twice? But he soon understood. The system is here to send warmth, and also to warn. Ding, congratulations on winning pork x 500 kilograms, mutton x 500 kilograms, beef x 500 kilograms, fish and seafood x 1 ton. Ding, the meat and seafood rewarded are guaranteed to be fresh and will not be contaminated by nuclear radiation. Ding, now stored in the space pocket. Please check it. Ding, please note that every 7 levels, a powerful creature will descend, and the next powerful creature is already on the way. This Su Lin twitched the corners of his mouth. He was naturally prepared for the arrival of powerful creatures. Every 7 levels, the next one is, the 14th level, which is the day after tomorrow. But what he was more interested in should be the generosity of the system. You know, no meat or seafood has been rewarded before. But it was just rewarded like this? Su Lin was a little confused. Last time, Liang Crossing was about to leave, and there were a lot of guns and bulletproof vests in the treasure chest. Now, knowing that Lei Tao's needs are great, they are helping out extra. System? Could it be that you are on my side? Ding, I will live and die with you. Su Lin twitched his mouth and rolled his eyes. Then how did you treat me in the beginning? Did you treat me as a human being? Ding, that was to make you grow up faster. Only when you are strong can you fight against everything. Then I really thank you. Ding, you're welcome. Get lost for a moment. Su Lin didn't know what to say, so he walked out of the room, ready to pick up the treasure chest and see what was inside. The last time it was Naruto. The scene is still vivid in my mind. It feels like he was dragged directly from the world of Naruto by someone. I don't know who it will be this time. While complaining, Su Lin opened the treasure chest. A dazzling light flashed by. It almost blinded Su Lin's eyes. Ding, congratulations on obtaining the sunlight teleportation array. Huh. Sunlight teleportation array? Such a cool and cyberpunk name attracted Su Lin's attention. After he read the description of this teleportation array, Su Lin's jaw almost dropped. Chapter 132 Sunlight Teleportation Array. Man-eating shark. Item. Sunlight Teleportation Array. Function. The teleportation array can be placed anywhere for teleportation. Teleportation requires sunlight points, regardless of the object or number of people. Note, the teleportation array can be reset and placed anywhere quantity. Su Lin took a deep breath. He looked at the two small round devices in front of him in disbelief. If he hadn't told me in advance, I'm afraid few people would have noticed that such a small device was inconspicuous. But, it can be fixed point teleportation. Su Lin quickly realized what this teleportation array does. Not to mention, it can set 2 locations and teleport between these 2 locations. More importantly, it can teleport people. There is no limit to the number of people, and the location can be changed freely. If this place is not satisfactory, just change it. Su Lin immediately checked the required sunlight points. He has been following the system for a long time. He knows that the greatest pleasure of this system may be to watch himself burned. It is impossible to have such a cheap thing. Sure enough, the required sunlight points can be called sky high. Occasionally, it was still affordable for Su Lin to use it alone. But if you wanted to teleport a large group of people, you should save money. Su Lin didn't want to go bankrupt. However, Su Lin grinned and placed one of the teleportation devices in the mana. No matter where the second device was placed, it was connected to his mana. Then, he opened the second treasure chest. Ding, congratulations on getting 1000 gold coins. Not bad. What about the third one? Ding, congratulations on getting the man-eating shark. Huh, man-eating shark? With a ding. No, it should be a shark. Appeared in front of Su Lin. Obviously, it should be this man-eating shark, is actually a sword. According to the introduction, it is a sword that is sharp enough to cut everything. It's just made to look like a man-eating shark. Su Lin's mouth twitched. Who would have thought that this was a sword? When Su Lin grabbed the man-eating shark in his hand, subconsciously, he swung forward. It was a little slow, and the reason for this slowness was that the man-eating shark seemed to be cutting the air. Then, Su Lin aimed it at the ground. He also saw that the shark mouth at the front of the man-eating shark was alive, opening its bloody mouth and gnawing at the soil. TSK. Not only is it sharp enough to cut the air, but the shark mouth at the front can also attack. Not bad, not bad. So I also have a close combat weapon. A great harvest. After the great harvest, Su Lin was in a good mood. He jumped back into the house. Liang Crossing was already asleep at this time. He just sat on the chair and fell asleep on the dining table. On the table, there were full of notebooks, and markers of various colors filled the paper with content. It seemed as if he was aware of Su Lin's return. Liang Crossing rubbed his sleepy eyes and slowly sat up. Are you back? Yeah, sleepy. A little. Seeing you so excited, it must be a good harvest, right? Hey, almost. Then sit down. I'll go make you a midnight snack. No, I'll do it. Su Lin strode forward and held Liang Crossing, who wanted to stand up. You've been very tired, so just take a good rest. Anyway, you haven't eaten my midnight snack, so let me show you my skills. Yeah. Liang Crossing pouted and nodded. Looking at Liang Crossing's hazy face, Su Lin couldn't help swallowing his saliva. Then he hurried to the kitchen and started to work. During this time, he also talked to Liang Crossing about the teleportation array. He also specifically mentioned the huge problem of consumables. Su Lin didn't know why he told Liang Crossing all this. Maybe he thought that if Liang Crossing needed it, he could let her use this teleportation array. Not bad. This bowl of noodle soup. Liang Crossing ate the hot noodle soup with a smile. If it's good, eat more and come back often in the future. I know. I just want to go home to take a look. Liang Crossing stretched and continued. Okay, after eating this hot noodle soup, I'll continue to work. Don't sleep. Su Lin frowned. What time is it? Almost. It's almost done. You'll go out tomorrow? Go out. I have to continue collecting some things. Okay then. You go to bed first. Yeah. Then you go early. Don't be too late. Yeah. Before leaving, Su Lin also considerately poured Liang Crossing a cup of hot water. Su Lin, who returned to the room, also planned tomorrow's arrangements. Originally, he was thinking of going to see it, based on the information about the surrounding cities, provided by Liang Crossing today. But now there are 2 new plants that need to be unlocked. This is a bit difficult. Forget about lightning reed. I already have electric green tea, which is also a lightning plant. But this ice shooter. Su Lin pursed his lips. Although he also has ice plants, frozen lettuce and mistletoe ice fairy. But, ice shooter. It is actually the ice form of pea shooter. The cost has increased from the original 100 sun points to 150 points. In appearance, it looks like pea shooter. It's just that the pea itself has changed from green to blue, which represents ice. It is a member of the pea shooter family. Its excellent long-range attack ability is much better than frozen lettuce. In addition, its attack damage is also not cheap, and it can cause ice effect on zombies, temporarily slowing down their pace. Ice shooter anyway. Su Lin must get it. It's just that the material requirements of these 2 plants are. Damn, this rubbish system ruined my whole family. It clearly said that it would live and die with me, but it was thinking about how to cheat me better. After complaining, Su Lin lay down on the bed and fell asleep. Soon, the sun rose. After breakfast, Su Lin also came outside. When he saw that the small motorcycle was still at the door, Su Lin knew that Liang Crossing must have stayed up late and had not woken up yet. I don't even want to talk about Liang Crossing. Then, Su Lin rode on the off-road motorcycle and rushed towards Chunfeng City. Lightning reed should be relatively simple. It's really strange. They are all lightning plants, but there is no lightning in the synthesis materials of lightning reeds. Su Lin twitched the corners of his mouth, and he wanted to start complaining about the system right now. Chapter 133 Big Dog. It is also a lightning plant called electric green tea. The fusion material is the lightning, which is hard to collect. Su Lin collected it with great effort and even risked his life. Logically speaking, lightning reed, a plant that is related to lightning, as soon as you hear its name. On the contrary, lightning is not needed. Question mark? Now that we have electric green tea, collecting lightning is a piece of cake. Plant it. With a snap, it's there. But, firefly, live, plus dogtail equals lightning reed. This it seems that ice shooter is easier. Firefly? Well, if you want a specimen, it will be much easier. But you need a live firefly. Question mark? This, if it was a world that had not been irradiated before. Fireflies were rarely seen in Chunfeng City, even in the green countryside. Not to mention a polluted world after radiation. I'm afraid that fireflies are extinct. Dogtail? Su Lin rubbed his eyes several times. He confirmed again and again that he was not mistaken. It was indeed a dogtail. He thought it was some kind of dogtail grass. Reeds, well, are quite similar to dogtail grass, but what does it have to do with dogtails? Anyway, find the dogtail first, and then see what to do. On the way, see if there are any materials for the ice shooter. Well, I decided happily, hey, the only thing that can be solved first is the dogtail. So let's find a dog first. When Su Lin's cool and handsome off-road motorcycle rushed into Chunfeng City, it immediately attracted countless eyes. Many people have already noticed it and want to snatch it directly. But unfortunately, Su Lin's speed is too fast, and there is no way to start. Dog, where should I go? I remember that I could still see wild dogs on the main road a few days ago. Why are there no traces today? It's strange. Su Lin pursed his lips and looked around while speeding. It is better to arrive at the right time than to arrive early. It just happened that Su Lin ran into a dog. It is hard not to run into one. The whole road was in tatters. The roadside was full of various cars that were smashed by people. In the middle of the road, there were several people surrounding a giant creature. They were holding various sticks in their hands and waving them constantly. It seemed that they were not trying to protect themselves, but to kill it directly, as if it were prey. And their prey was a very exaggeratedly large dog. A dog. It was about 3 meters in size, with all kinds of festering flesh all over its body, and it was still bubbling. The big mouth with bared teeth was flowing with a green and sticky liquid. It dripped and slid down, constantly eroding the ground. It roared and swallowed the man holding the electric baton in front of it alive. The ferocious appearance was really shocking. Hurry up. Go. Don't be afraid. Brothers. Kill this wild dog, and we can eat meat. Charge. No matter how ferocious this big dog is, it can't resist the hungry stomachs of the people. Su Lin rolled his eyes. Is it necessary? Even if the wild dog is defeated, can the meat on its body be eaten? It has been radiated into a weird state by the Earth's core. I'm afraid that after eating it, it will immediately become a human-like dog. But Su Lin can understand. After all, around the air, in addition to the barking of wild dogs and the screams of people, there are also people's hungry growlings. At least, these people, under the command of the leader, used the sticks and weapons in their hands to smash the big dog. It even beat the dog so hard that it screamed in pain. There were wounds on its body, blue and purple. After a roar, the big dog began to fight back. It intercepted the waist horizontally and directly tore off a person's waist. TSK. Cruel, cruel. How about this? Su Lin raised his pistol. He also needed a dogtail. Naturally, he didn't intend to let it go. Pang. A gunshot. Accurate headshot. But the bullet seemed to be embedded in the big dog's forehead, splashing out a trace of blood. And the big dog also roared in pain. No way. Su Lin's mouth twitched. The bullet can't kill. Embedded in the forehead? This dog. How thick-skinned must be. However, Su Lin's actions still attracted the attention of others. The eyes they looked at Su Lin all changed to alertness, fear, and surprise. Su Lin waved his hands repeatedly. It's okay. I only need a dogtail. The rest are yours. After noticing the hostility, Su Lin hurriedly explained, and at the same time, walked towards the crowd. But the group of people were still vigilant, and they all tightened their weapons. You. Who are you? The strong man in the lead yelled. Su Lin. You just came from outside. You just need a dog's tail. Why should I believe you? Where did you get the pistol in your hand? Are you from the Springwind Army? Springwind Army? Su Lin frowned. He was somewhat familiar with this Springwind Army from his past memories, but he couldn't remember it for a while. I don't know. I just came from outside. This pistol was picked up from the ground, and there are still a lot of bullets. Su Lin deliberately emphasized the tone of bullets. It seemed to remind the group in front of him that I can't kill the big dog, but I can deal with you. The strong man was stunned for a moment, and while he was thinking, Su Lin continued to roar. Although I don't know what the Springwind Army is, if I have hostility towards you, I would have attacked you long ago. That's right. The strong man nodded. The Springwind Army also disdains to snatch this kind of food that is obviously genetically mutated from us. Hey, Su Lin. Then let's cooperate. After hearing this, Su Lin just glanced at the corner of his mouth secretly. What cooperation? Although the other party has a large number of people, their strength is. Although I'm alone, I have a gun. If it weren't for the principle of first come first served, Su Lin would not be so polite. Okay. Su Lin walked forward, and at the same time, he also wanted to figure out what this so-called Spring Breeze Army is. As if sensing Su Lin's arrival, the big dog roared and rushed up with bared teeth. Quick. Stop it. Don't let it escape. Our food for the next few days. The strong man was about to cry. Su Lin rolled his eyes. How miserable it was. He almost cried. But he also knew that the big dog was coming towards him. Then Su Lin took a deep breath and looked at the behemoth rushing towards him without fear. Gritting his teeth. A boost. A kneeling jump. Su Lin jumped up and flew directly into the air. This jump. I'm afraid it must be 2 meters high. A kick. Su Lin took advantage of the situation and threw it directly at the big dog's jaw. The big dog was completely unable to react. Who else could jump up like this? Jump directly in front of him? Chapter 134. The tragic situation at the base. The big dog staggered and retreated. After swinging his legs and landing safely, Su Lin raised his head and showed a confused look. He thought that a sweep of the leg should be enough to solve the problem, but he didn't expect that it didn't fall down. Then, let's do it again. After saying that, Su Lin rushed up with a brisk step. He jumped up again and jumped higher than last time. Then he clasped his fists and hit the big dog's forehead hard. Peng. His strength was so great that layers of flying soil were rippled. With a plop, accompanied by a wail, the big dog was paralyzed on the ground. Done. Su Lin patted his hands. He looked relaxed. Since the big dog was so thick-skinned, bullets were not enough to penetrate it. Then he could only use violence to give it a concussion. What Su Lin didn't expect was that it would take 2 hits. It was indeed an animal that was genetically mutated by nuclear radiation. Done. I just want the dog's tail. Su Lin looked at everyone. Everyone was stunned. The strong man couldn't stop rubbing his eyes, thinking he was dreaming. Is this still a human? He jumped 2 meters high. With one kick and one punch, he directly killed this monster. Is this something a human can do? Su Lin ignored the surprised looks of these people. He directly took out the man-eating shark from the space pocket. He chopped off the big dog's tail. Okay, the rest are yours. He let go. Cleanly and neatly. The man-eating shark and the dog's tail appeared in the space pocket. Su Lin, are you still a human? The strong man twitched his mouth. It's a human, just like you, all human. Su Lin walked forward and extended his hand in a friendly manner. Let me introduce myself again. Hello, I'm Su Lin. Hello, I'm NIU Dahan, one of the leaders of the Heroic Resistance Army. Oh, the Heroic Resistance Army? Su Lin blinked. What's the relationship with the Spring Breeze Army you just mentioned? This? NIU Dahan was stunned for a moment, then whispered, it's not convenient to talk here. Let's go to the base. Okay. Su Lin nodded. After all, it's on the side of the road. God knows where some gang will come out and snatch this prey away. Under the command of NIU Dahan, everyone quickly dismembered the big dog. I didn't expect that after death. The big dog's body became so fragile. The sword can directly cut the skin and flesh. But, Su Lin almost vomited when he saw the blood and flesh on the big dog. It was very different from the lusty eyes of others. Very quickly, they arrived at the so-called destination, an underground air raid shelter. But in the center, there is a hollow square with a huge glass cover on it. It seems that it was an unfinished building before. It was found by NIU Dahan. There are all kinds of old, weak, sick and disabled people in this so-called base. There are also a lot of strong laborers. It is full of various tools and items. It seems that they have lived here for some time. There is a faint stench in the air. The most common sound here is the growling of hungry stomachs. When NIU Dahan and his men were seen bringing in pieces of dog meat, everyone's eyes turned green. If NIU Dahan hadn't stopped them again and again, I'm afraid the riot would have happened. Under his command, bonfire, rack, start roasting. Everyone gathered around the bonfires. They couldn't stop swallowing their saliva. Obviously, there was no time to pay attention to Su Lin now. Su Lin was also very comfortable. He was able to observe the situation of these bases outside. But in the end, he could only use the 4 words shocking to describe it. Before it was completely roasted, someone tried to do it. If it weren't for the big man NIU's roar, I'm afraid there would have been chaos. Finally, it was roasted. Before it cooled down, he even took out his hands to eat it. He gritted his teeth and wolfed it down, even though it was so hot. I'm afraid it hasn't even entered the stomach. Several people started vomiting. Such a disgusting scene, but it couldn't stop others from eating. Those who were unlucky would vomit after eating, and then continue to eat after vomiting. Even the vomit was not spared. Others even had diarrhea, and they had diarrhea while eating. Lucky? After eating, they just covered their stomachs and rolled on the ground in pain. At least they filled their stomachs. Looking at this scene in front of him, Su Lin gritted his teeth. He forced himself to look away. He regretted it a little. He regretted coming to such a base. Looking at the scene in front of him, that was like hell. Then thinking about the warm daily life in his own manor farm, it was really hard to bear. But, Su Lin reached his hand into the space pocket several times. There were many times when he reached in and he retreated. He didn't dare. He didn't dare to face the test of human nature. After swallowing heavily, he looked at the scene in front of him with a slight breath. At least not now. Big man NIU. He just ate a piece of wild dog meat. If it weren't for his good willpower, he would probably have been stimulated to faint. He was pale, holding a piece of dog meat, and walked towards Su Lin. Hey, Su Lin, have a piece. Eat it while it's hot. If it weren't for you, we would still be hungry. How about roasting your dogtail? It's convenient for you to take it back. No, no. Su Lin waved his hands repeatedly. I'm not hungry. I have other uses for the dogtail. Okay then. Do you want some water? Although it hasn't rained for several days, there is still some groundwater. Niu Dahan pushed a large cup over. Water? So turbid? Can it be called water? Muddy water. No, you can eat first, if you're not thirsty. We'll talk after you're full. It's okay, I'm full too. Since you don't want it, I'll give it to others. Niu Dahan also gave the meat and water in his hand to others. Although he was a little puzzled why Su Lin was so pretentious. Isn't this the case now? Why is he still picky? However, he is a hero who helped them defeat this big dog after all. Niu Dahan didn't dare to say anything. Are there any rooms here? Rooms? We all sleep on the floor. Then, Su Lin said helplessly, is there any place where we can talk? I want to know what's going on here. Over there. Niu Dahan pointed to the corner. Okay, let's go over there. After arriving at the corner, Su Lin directly confronted them. This is what you call the heroic resistance army. What exactly are you rebelling against, and what exactly is the Spring Breeze army? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 135, The Rise of a New Force, the Spring Breeze Army. Yes. Niu Dahan nodded. This is our heroic resistance army. It's very simple. Niu Dahan shook his head. You should be from another city, right? Su Lin nodded. At this time, it would be better to lie. The situation in Chunfeng City is very complicated. Niu Dahan pursed his lips. Although I don't know which city you are from, everyone can know the current end of the world situation from the news. It's just that a few days ago, I don't know which lunatic bombed the only military camp stationed in Chunfeng City and blew up most of the guns and ammunition inside. In this way, the army has no means of suppression. I heard that a few days ago, the army even sent people to seek revenge, but all the armored vehicles and tanks brought over are gone, all gone. Now because the town government no longer has absolute means of force. So Chunfeng City is completely in chaos. All kinds of thugs, all kinds of institutions, and all kinds of organizations have sprung up like mushrooms after rain. Let us ordinary people have no room to react. Su Lin rolled his eyes. No need to guess. I also know that the lunatic mentioned by Niu Dahan is not himself. At that time, in order to steal the 1 ton of bombs, he went to the military base. This is just a little embarrassing. Even if the town government has absolute military means, it may not be able to suppress it. Secondly, it is just that the owner has changed from a thug to a town government. This is the inevitability of the world. It is not something that human power can do. So for Su Lin, the shame in his heart is like the love of a scumbag, which comes quickly and goes even faster. That's it. Niu Dahan sighed. Maybe it's a broken jar. The Mayor Qiu Yang, he took advantage of this riot and swallowed up all the remaining military forces. Huh. Su Lin raised his eyebrows. I didn't expect Mayor Qiu Yang to be still alive. After the last life, he knew Qiu Yang very well. He was a hypocrite. What relief activities of opening grain warehouses for disaster relief? He secretly intercepted a lot of them. And Qiu Yang also established the so-called Spring Wind Army. The remaining personnel and weapons of the military base are all in his hands, not to mention that he occupied the identity of mayor and seized the strategic materials of Chunfeng City. Now, it can be said that he is the richest man. Niu Dahan gritted his teeth and said viciously, that's fine. With a gun in hand, he has become a black and white existence, I heard. While he repeatedly appealed to the top leaders for material reinforcement, he took the materials that the top leaders had squeezed out with great difficulty for himself. Then he kept robbing the materials that we citizens had finally obtained, and even robbed us of genetically mutated animals. As far as I know, there are already several thug organizations in Chunfeng City, and they plan to join forces to destroy this Spring Wind Army. TSK. Su Lin shook his head. It seems that they are not afraid of gangsters, but they are afraid of gangsters with culture. A mayor has become a gangster leader? After being said by Niu Dahan, Su Lin did think of the Spring Wind Army. In his memory of the previous life, the Spring Breeze Army, not worth mentioning. And it would take a long time to appear. Why is it so fast this time? After thinking about it, Su Lin understood. The name of the organization Glory of Humanity was given by himself. It is normal for other situations to change. I'm afraid that Su Lin will have to make a different estimate of the strength of the Spring Breeze Army. But, Su Lin pursed his lips and muttered to himself, if I'm not mistaken, I only lived for about 2 months after the radiation explosion. I don't know what will happen next. It seems that I still have to be mentally prepared so as not to be always surprised in the future. This is the current situation. Niu Dahan sighed. Qiu Yang, who is good at both black and white, already has a sense of covering the sky with one hand. I heard that he has come into contact with several superpowers. What about the Vulcan fortress in the suburbs? Oh, you also know the Vulcan fortress? Niu Dahan was stunned. Yes, I have heard of it. He was one of the first organizations to appear. At the beginning, he was quite arrogant. With his fire ability, he was the first to come out on top and was considered the most powerful organization. However, Niu Dahan frowned, full of confusion. For some reason, he has disappeared for a long time. I heard that he seemed to have hit a tough bone and stayed at home. Su Lin smiled awkwardly. The tough bone, that is Su Lin himself. But he also guessed one thing. Perhaps this Yan Wu only informed his news to the organization that has strength, or even has superpowers. Otherwise, there is no reason why Niu Dahan has not heard of his name. It's just that in the past few days, an organization seems to have appeared in Chunfeng City, giving people a very different feeling. Other organizations will act like thugs. Moderates like us have long been out of favor and are always bullied, but this emerging organization is not only moderate, but no one dares to bully it. Not only does it have considerable strength, but it also helps the world. I heard that they are all good food and drink. If I can't make it, I will take a large group of people there to see if they can take us in. TSK. Hearing this, Su Lin raised his eyebrows and immediately asked, is it the glory of mankind? Yes. It's the glory of mankind. Their boss seems to be a beautiful woman. I can't imagine that a woman can be so rising suddenly. Su Lin didn't expect it. In just a few days, Liang Crossing has made a name for herself. She is really worthy of her. Thinking of this, Su Lin also asked, what if the glory of mankind thinks that there are too many of you and is only willing to take you in? What will you do? A matter of life and death. Should I abandon my companions and live alone, or should I advance and retreat together with my companions? What Su Lin did not expect was that Niu Dahan answered without any hesitation. That can only be said, that the glory of mankind is a big Buddha, and I have no fate with them. Ha ha ha. Good. Su Lin laughed. It seems that this Niu Dahan is still a man of character. Su Lin admired him very much. However, he did not intend to interfere with Liang Crossing's decision. What the glory of mankind should do is up to Liang Crossing. However, he still has something he can do. Su Lin directly picked out some water resources and food supplies from the space pocket and put them in the corner. Chapter 136 Going to the military base again. What is this? Niu Dahan swallowed his saliva. Meeting is fate, and I also think you have a good eye. This is the water resources and food that I have worked hard to collect. I'm a lonely person with no relatives or friends, so I will just treat it as a good deed. Of course, I hope you can use these things well, so as not to. At this point, Su Lin looked to the side and glanced at the people on the side. Niu Dahan immediately understood. Su Lin was asking him to be careful not to move such good things directly out, so as not to cause a riot. By then, He would not be able to take advantage, but would suffer a great loss. Thank you so much. Niudahan thanked him repeatedly. At the same time, he quickly pulled a piece of cloth and covered it. Speaking of this, Su Lin waved his hand. He had also thought deeply about it. The situation in front of him was really a bit frightening. Su Lin was still very nervous. But if he took out the supplies directly, he was afraid that his bones would be gnawed by these hungry refugees. And Niudahan was also quite appreciated by Su Lin. He happened to be the leader of this organization. Just give it to him. His character can also guarantee a relatively fair distribution. That's enough. Su Lin can't save everyone. He just wants peace of mind. And Niudahan looked at Su Lin in front of him with trembling pupils. If there were no other people beside him, he would probably kowtow to him 3 times and 9 times. By the way, where is the base of the Spring Breeze Army? Su Lin asked with a smile. At the military base. Oh, military base. Yes, although a lot of it was blown up by that lunatic, there are still some stocks inside, and Qiu Yang has digested them all. Hahaha. Su Lin smiled helplessly. Can you please stop talking about this? Why are you asking about Chunfeng Army? I want to go and take a look. I'm new here, so I'll take a look first. Hey, Su Lin, listen to my advice. Don't go looking for trouble. This Qiu Yang is a bastard with a beastly heart. On the one hand, he collects and plunders all kinds of material resources, as if he were a living Buddha, and on the other hand, he embezzles all kinds of resources to fill his stomach. Even if the materials are about to stink, he is unwilling to share them with us. I heard that Qiu Yang even moved the entire food reserve of Chunfeng City to the military base. I know. Su Lin waved his hand. After all, he is the mayor, and the entire Chunfeng City belongs to him. To be precise, he is the former mayor. Hey, Su Lin has made up his mind. Just go to the military base again. Because there should be a military base in the fusion material of frozen shooter. Just go and look for it again. So do you still want to go? Niudahan felt a little reluctant. Just met Su Lin. He also felt that Su Lin was a good man. He could even say that he was a benefactor. It was a bit unbearable to watch Su Lin go to his death. Go ahead. I have to find some things anyway. Besides, since his military base has the most supplies in Chunfeng City, then. Su Lin grinned. You can't just leave it there until it stinks, right? Then open the warehouse to save the people. This. Niudahan bit his lip. His eyes were full of incomprehension when he looked at Su Lin. However, he still added, Su Lin, since you are determined to go there, for the people of Chunfeng City, then, let me join you. Huh. I can't watch my benefactor, whom I just met, go to his death, right? Ha ha ha. Su Lin laughed. Niudahan was also open-minded and honest, and he was considered a man. It's better to leave now than to choose a day. Okay, I will risk my life to accompany you. Su Lin smiled. After explaining everything, Niudahan also followed Su Lin out. As soon as Su Lin walked out of the base, he took out his cell phone. There was a buzzing sound. What's going on? Can't get through? Su Lin frowned. You don't know? Niudahan was a little surprised. Now as time goes by, more and more people are starving, and they can't even eat. The maintenance of the signal station has naturally become a problem. It's good to be able to access the internet now, and cell phones can basically not get through. Oh, Su Lin nodded. Originally wanted to call Liang Crossing and ask her to go to the military base together. It seems that forget it. When Niudahan saw Su Lin's off-road motorcycle, his eyes lit up. It's so handsome. Hahaha, it's okay. There's no way to refuel now. Isn't it troublesome for you to drive a motorcycle? Solar. Oh, sitting on the backseat of the motorcycle. Niudahan also told Su Lin the address of the military base. It's okay, I know where it is. Well, I've been there once before, hey. Oh. Niudahan nodded repeatedly. He would never have thought that the lunatic he was talking about was the man in front of him. Soon, they arrived at the military base in the suburbs. Looking at the familiar military base in front of him, Su Lin had a slight smile on his face. I'm back. Hey, stop. At the gate, 2 uniformed soldiers blocked Su Lin's way. Who are you? This is the territory of the Spring Breeze Army. Get out of here quickly. Looking at the black muzzles of the two soldiers' hands, Niu Dahan was sweating profusely and tugged at Su Lin's sleeve. Su Lin, let's go quickly, it's too dangerous here. It's okay, it's okay. Just focus on watching the show. After saying that, Su Lin took out his pistol at lightning speed. 2 bangs. 2 bullets hit his head. The speed was so fast that the soldier didn't even have time to react, and he fell to the ground. Seeing Su Lin coming up, he shot and killed people without saying a word. The big man Niu was scared silly. This was too cruel. Su Lin, I'm in a hurry and don't want to waste time talking to them, and besides. Su Lin sneered, I hate it most when people point guns at me. They deserve it. Su Lin walked in swaggeringly, stepping lightly over the bodies of the soldiers. Niu Dahan was stunned. He had seen many arrogant people, but it was rare to see someone this arrogant. The reason why Su Lin was so confident and not afraid of attracting the attention of the Spring Breeze army was very simple. He had undergone the most important change since the last time he came. Now, he could use the plant possession. Even outside, he could use the plant trick. He was not afraid at all, and his swaggering way of greeting naturally attracted the attention of the soldiers in the base. Alarms sounded everywhere. They rushed out in a swarm. Chapter 137. Persuading surrender? Seeing so many soldiers rushing out in a swarm, Su Lin's smile remained. He was still planning to chat, but he squinted his eyes and carefully looked at the group of soldiers in front of him. Seeing that there was only one intruder, the soldiers also slowed down their pace and slowly approached. Who are you? Did you shoot just now? Yes, so what? Su Lin shrugged and smiled. He also found that many of these soldiers in front of him had followed the division commander and drove armored vehicles and tanks to attack his manor. They were familiar faces. At the same time, the soldiers also discovered it. They twitched their mouths and trembled all over. One of them even mustered up great courage and whispered to the officer in the front row, Sergeant, he is the Su Lin who brutally killed the division commander. What? The Su Lin who wiped out the 100-man legion led by the division commander. He also wiped out our armored vehicles and tanks. Yes. The sergeant was stunned. Although he did not go to the battlefield with Su Lin at that time, he also clearly knew how strong Su Lin was from the review afterwards. The 100-man army was fully equipped and even deployed armored vehicles, tanks, and various rocket launchers. But they were defeated by Su Lin alone. You must be Su Lin, the sergeant shouted. At the same time, he waved to the soldiers beside him, indicating them to put down all their weapons. Yes. We have already put down our weapons. Can you tell us why you came? Come and sit down and order something by the way. Su Lin walked forward, waving his hand. He also indicated that he had no firearms in his hand and was safe. Then who was the gunshot just now? 2 soldiers outside the door. I shot them dead. Just now. They didn't say anything and directly raised their guns to me. Seeing the black muzzle of the gun, I was almost scared to death. Su Lin hugged his hands, looking pitiful. The sergeant twitched the corners of his mouth. He was too angry to speak. He could only lower his voice and whispered, don't point your gun at him, lest he find a reason to attack. Then go find Mayor Qiu Yang and ask him what to do next. Yes, a soldier ran away. Su Lin saw it, but didn't say anything. Then, Su Lin, come in and have a cup of tea first. Let's see if we can meet your requirements first. So enthusiastic. The last time you went to my place to cause trouble, you were still aggressive. I'm the leader of this group of soldiers, Sergeant Zhao Ying. Zhao Ying saluted Su Lin. I didn't participate in the last battle, but I also know your strength, but I don't know what your intention is this time. Isn't it obvious? It's a courtesy. You have come to my place once, so I have to visit you, right? The big man Niu behind Su Lin was already confused. What are they talking about? Why does it seem like the big man Niu's mouth is twitching? With such a conversation, why does it feel like this Su Lin has something to do with the military base? Suddenly, Niu Dahan thought of a possibility. He widened his pupils in surprise and locked onto Su Lin's back. No way. The person who blew up the military base. It couldn't be you. Su Lin, as if he noticed Niu Dahan's strangeness. Su Lin turned around and blinked at him, saying everything. Before Sergeant Zhao Ying could convey the next instructions and orders. Some figures came over not far away. He walked carelessly, with his head held high. You don't need to guess that he is the owner here, the leader of the Chunfeng army, and also the mayor of Chunfeng City, Qiu Yang. Who is it? Who is coming to my territory to cause trouble? Zhao. How do you do things? Why don't you catch the troublemaker for me, Mayor? Zhao rolled her eyes secretly. Don't call me Mayor, call me Marshal. I've said it so many times. I'm now the Marshal who commands the Chunfeng army. Yes, 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 Marshal. Zhao gritted his teeth secretly. He didn't even want to complain. The entire Chunfeng army has only about 400 people. Among these 400 people, there are only about 300 truly trained soldiers. Even so, he dares to call himself a marshal? If it gets out, I'm afraid it will be a laughingstock. But Zhao only dared to complain silently in his heart. This group of soldiers have to rely on Qiu Yang to survive. And the military emblem on their shoulders also makes them have a very high degree of tolerance. At least they will not openly disobey the orders of the superiors. Otherwise, how can this Qiu Yang take over the entire military base? Qiu Yang? Oh, I didn't expect you to come so soon. Su Lin smiled. You? Are you the one who killed the division commander? Yes. Humph, I didn't expect you to fall into the trap. I was thinking that I would lead people to flatten your place in a few days and comfort the soul of the division commander. I didn't expect you to deliver it yourself. Say these. Su Lin sneered. If I hadn't helped you kill the division commander and also destroyed so many armored vehicles, tanks, and rocket launchers, do you think you have the face to sit in this position? You. Qiu Yang glared at him. Perhaps his sore spot was exposed. Qiu Yang's face turned red with anger. After glaring at Su Lin fiercely, he looked at the nearby soldiers. Why are you still standing there? Shoot. Cripple him first. Sergeant Zhao. Su Lin suddenly yelled, let me tell you my purpose. There are too many supplies in your Chunfeng army. Be alert and take them out. Also, I want liquid nitrogen. 1 barrel is enough. Liquid nitrogen. It is one of the synthetic materials for the frozen shooter. This liquid nitrogen can be said to be one of the coldest substances in the world. Originally, this kind of thing should only be available in the factory. But given the current situation, it is better to come to the military base. After all, this military base is also responsible for the function of research and development of weapons. Things like liquid nitrogen are reasonable. Hearing Su Lin's request, Zhao was stunned. He could still help provide this liquid nitrogen. But the decision to open the survival material warehouse is not in his hands. What a joke. Qiu Yang cursed. Shoot. Why are you standing there? You are almost being ridden on your head, and you still don't shoot. You can shoot if you want. Su Lin grinned. But I hope you remember that the reason I let you go last time was that I hoped you could help me deal with the bodies. But it's different here. I don't mind killing people. Chapter 138. The cuckoo occupies the magpie's nest. Of course. At this point, Su Lin rarely became serious. No matter what, I don't want my gun to be aimed at this uniform. Looking at the green uniform in front of him, Su Lin felt a little reluctant. After all, the last time was self-defense, but this time, I hope we can still have a good talk. In fact, this group of lovely people in front of him are often the most pitiful in such a turbulent world. They are not like ordinary people who can satisfy their desire for survival unscrupulously. They have responsibilities. They need to be able to afford the military emblem on their shoulders. But it is because of this idea, they often find themselves in a dilemma. Should they take off their military uniforms and become kings in order to satisfy their desires? Or should they pay their lives for the responsibilities and obligations of this military uniform? But Su Lin does not have such a psychological burden. Just live. This is his belief. Hearing what Su Lin said, many soldiers have begun to waver. With a click, the guns in their hands fell to the ground one by one. Hey, Zhao. Su Lin was still shouting. Occasionally, don't always think about the uniform on your body. Think about yourself. The superiors are busy. You should also consider the brothers behind you. Hearing Su Lin say this, Zhao couldn't help but fall into silence. When Qiu Yang saw that the situation was developing in a disadvantageous direction for him, he secretly whispered to the younger brother behind him. The younger brother nodded repeatedly and left here quickly. Su Lin. Zhao Ying pursed her lips. Alas, I'm really sorry. Since I put on this uniform, I have made up my mind to join the army. I want to defend one side. I know. But alas. Zhao Ying shook her head and then looked at the many soldiers behind him. You decide for yourself. No matter what decision you make, I support you. That's it, everyone. If you choose to continue to follow the Spring Breeze army, continue to stand. Choose to withdraw from the Spring Breeze army, follow your heart, and find another way. Take off your uniform, pick up your weapon, and run. Su Lin opened his hands. Become a king yourself, or surrender to others, as long as you can survive. No matter what, just don't go against me. After a while, many people have made a decision. Basically, those who took off their military uniforms were those who were spared by Su Lin last time. They knew very well that, if they continued to stay, they would probably die under Su Lin's attack. Those who stayed had a face full of fear of death, and the military uniforms on their bodies seemed to be more beautiful in a trance. But for Su Lin, it was actually the same. Perhaps this was the only concession he could make. Whoever stood in front of him, no matter who it was, no matter what their identity was, he would just kill them. Qiu Yang, on the other hand, had been gritting his teeth fiercely, but now he saw so many people taking off their weapons, but he looked calm and relaxed. It seemed that he had won the victory. Just when Su Lin couldn't figure out what Qiu Yang was confident of, Qiu Yang also said directly to Zhao Ying, Sergeant, what you said just now really hurt my heart. Marshal, it's okay. It's just a clear distinction between rewards and punishments. Qiu Yang waved his hand. Then I will remove your position and let others take charge. This. Zhao Ying really didn't expect Qiu Yang to say this. Originally, after the division commander was defeated, he was the highest ranking person in the military base. It was also because of his non-resistance. Qiu Yang was able to easily occupy the entire military base for himself, establish himself as the king, and establish the Spring Breeze army. Now it seems like the cuckoo occupying the magpie's nest. Zhao Ying really didn't expect there would be such a hand. However, due to his previous speech, he felt guilty and seemed to have no choice but to accept it. Zhao Ying gritted his teeth, shook his head, and came to the soldiers with a dusty face. Qiu Yang walked up naturally, waved his hand, and shouted to Su Lin, Su Lin, I heard that your farm is quite powerful, and those magical plants have the ability to attack. Who gave you the courage to come here with your farm to cause trouble? I did it myself. It can't be Liang Jingru. Su Lin rolled his eyes. His powerful senses told him that something rumbling was on the way and was coming soon. I'm afraid it was Qiu Yang's backup. Su Lin raised his eyebrows. Indistinctly, he also guessed what Qiu Yang's backup was. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken away the command so directly. Sure enough, from the rear of the military base, several armored vehicles and tanks slowly drove in, and there were nearly 10 rocket launchers. Seeing this scene, Zhao Ying was the first to be stunned. He looked at so many military vehicles coming with an unbelievable look on his face. Because these military vehicles can only be driven by professionals, how could the ordinary people brought by Qiu Yang drive them? Question mark? Hey. Qiu Yang patted Zhao Ying's shoulder proudly. No need to guess. You have several soldiers who have followed me wholeheartedly. I'm the only one who can speak for this Chunfeng army. Just be a good soldier and fight for me. Zhao Ying's face was ugly. He was still waiting for him to digest it. Qiu Yang waved his arm and said, everyone. You saw it too. Sergeant Zhao Ying has transferred his command to me. Now, there are my other subordinates. At this time, another group of people ran over from the side. Although they were not as capable as these soldiers, but the equipment on their bodies was genuine. So, the military base is not short of firearms. I'm the marshal of the Chunfeng army. The supreme marshal. Now listen to my orders. Capture Su Lin in front of you alive. As soon as the voice fell, it was Su Lin who took action first. He would not be so stupid as to sit and wait for death. Just right. Let's practice with this group of enemies in front of us. Let's see what the so-called planned possession is like. When his consciousness came into contact with the system, Su Lin directly chose ability. Plant possession. All the plants owned by Su Lin appeared in front of him in a phantom way. Only he could see it. 5 chances. Then, nuts. Pea shooter. Defense, attack, everything. Niu Dahan, be careful. I won't have the time to take care of you when the fight starts later. When Su Lin turned around, he realized that he had said something in vain. Niu Dahan had already run to the roots of the big tree next to him and was waving at him, signaling Su Lin to run away. TSK. Su Lin shook his head helplessly, and his body. There were also significant changes. Chapter 139, A Burst of Destruction. 2 beams of light enveloped Su Lin. One was yellow, the other was green. When the beams of light retreated, several transparent shields suddenly appeared around Su Lin. These shields surrounded him, forming a defense shield. And his hands also changed. They became 2 mouths. The mouth of the pea shooter. Su Lin raised his right hand directly and used his consciousness to drive the mouth. With a bang, a green shell flew out of his mouth and hit the armored vehicle not far away. Boom. With an explosion, the armored vehicle was blown to pieces. Qiu Yan looked at the destructive power in horror. Ordinary gun bullets don't have such power. What kind of weapon is in Su Lin's hand? Attack. Shoot. Quick. Qiu Yan was panicking. At the same time, he hid behind the soldiers and sought shelter. The counterattack came quickly. Countless bullets poured towards Su Lin, but they were all blocked by the rotating shield on the outside. There was no way to cause any harm to Su Lin. TSK. Su Lin shook his head. The pea gun muzzle in his hand also ejected bullets again. A burst of bangs, shooting at armored vehicles, tanks, and rocket launchers. Boom. 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 Even Su Lin himself felt that it was a bit cruel. He was safely under the protection of the rotating shield. No matter how the enemy attacked, there was no way to break through this rotating shield. And what about the enemies outside? The bullets he shot out. The moment they touched the shield, they directly penetrated the shield and shot out. It seems that this shield can go out but not in. This rotating shield is naturally the ability of Nuts Plant Possession. It can summon 5 shields, rotate around Su Lin, and protect Su Lin. The duration is 30 minutes. And the gun muzzle that Su Lin's hands turned into is the plant possession of the pea shooter. At the same time, unlimited bullets. It can even fire green bullets that look like basketballs. The power is self-evident. It is not a bullet, but a cannonball. The duration is 15 minutes. Plant possession is equivalent to using golden beans. But finally I don't have to be confined to the farm. To some extent, I feel like I have become a superpower. This feels good. Hey. Su Lin even raised his hands. He pointed the 2 green muzzles at the entire row of armored vehicles in front of him. Puff puff puff. A burst of shooting. All the cannonballs were fired. Boom boom boom. Fire splashed. All the military vehicles in front of him were bombed by Su Lin. Looking at the fire behind him, Qiu Yan was completely stunned. He didn't know how to deal with it. Okay, you guys, do you want to continue? Su Lin looked at the soldiers in front of him with a smile. But, I have given you a choice, and this is the result of your choice, right? In the battle just now, Su Lin controlled the muzzle of the gun specifically. Try not to point it at the soldiers without any protective equipment. It was just that the armored vehicles with heavy firepower were eliminated first. Now all the heavy firepower has been destroyed. Then only the living soldiers are left. Wait. At this time, Zhao Ying stood up. He was seen firmly controlling Qiu Yan. He pulled him out. Zhao Ying, what are you doing? Qiu Yan cursed. But how could he break away from a well-trained person? I didn't do anything. You are the marshal. It is obvious now that we can't beat Su Lin. Only by handing over this commander can the soldiers have a chance of survival. You. Qiu Yan gritted his teeth. Let me go. What are you doing? I'm the marshal. I'm the mayor. How can you do this to me? Ha ha ha. Su Lin laughed. He walked directly to Qiu Yan. Qiu Yan, what are you thinking? First, you have no strength, and second, you have no manpower. Just relying on the identity of a mayor, you want to monopolize all the benefits? Ha ha Su Lin, I already know that we have no chance of winning against you. These soldiers still listen to me. I will hand over the culprit Qiu Yang to you. Okay. Su Lin smiled. Let him go. Qiu Yang, I'll give you 3 seconds to escape. Okay. Perhaps Su Lin agreed very decisively. Zhao Ang was stunned. And in his stunned astonishment, Qiu Yang seized the opportunity. He struggled to break free from Zhao Ang's control. He ran away. Ha ha ha, that's right. After Su Lin laughed loudly, his face fell instantly. He raised his hand and aimed at Qiu Yang, who was running towards the gate. 3, 2, 1, go to hell. The so-called Spring Wind Army Marshal. Bang. The shell roared away. Hit Qiu Yang's back. Boom. In just a moment, the shells exploded. Blood mist splashed everywhere, and pieces of flesh were scattered. The death was extremely cruel. The soldiers all twitched their mouths as they looked at the scene in front of them. That looked like hell. This was really too bloody and brutal. A living person died just like that. So we are even shaking hands and making peace. Su Lin turned around and looked at Zhao Ang with a smile. Ah, yes, yes. Zhao Ang nodded repeatedly. She was afraid of angering the madman in front of her. Then take me to see the supplies collected by Qiu Yang, and there is liquid nitrogen. Go this way. Zhao Ang swallowed her saliva, waved her big hand, signaled Su Lin to go this way, and also signaled the soldiers with her eyes to clean up quickly. As for the liquid nitrogen, after all, the storage conditions are very strict. How about you tell me a place and I will send it directly. It's okay, I'll just go and get it. Su Lin waved his hand. At that time, just throw it into the space pocket, and nothing will happen. Well, let's go this way. Marshal, Qiu Yang has put all the supplies here. Are there a lot? A lot. It can be said that all the emergency supplies of the entire Chunfeng city have been moved here. TSK, this man is so greedy. Su Lin shook his head. What about you, Zhao Ang? What are you going to do in the future? From the moment you controlled Qiu Yang, there is no turning back. There is no turning back. If there is still a chance of winning with you, I will not just accept my fate and open up the supplies. These supplies are left for us to use. Isn't it nice? Ha ha ha, you are sensible. I don't want them either. It's just that you occupy so much. It's really unnecessary. It's better to let more people enjoy it. Su Lin came to the huge storage point in front of him and felt that Qiu Yang was really greedy. How much is piled up here? You don't have to tell me. I'm planning to do this as well. I've already contacted several leaders of the organizations I know. Chapter 140, Obtaining Liquid Nitrogen. Oh. Do you have a signal here? Can I make a call? For a place as important as a military base, it's normal to have a signal booster. That's right. Su Lin nodded. But who gave you the face to contact other salvation organizations privately? As if I wasn't here? This Zhao Ang smiled helplessly. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and kept saying, I don't think you are the kind of person who would occupy all the supplies, so I just notified them in advance. What do you care about me? Su Lin said with a frown. It doesn't matter to you, but you're making me lose face by doing this. This Zhao Ang was a little panicked. Okay. Su Lin stretched out his hand. I hate others making decisions for me. If we have any intersection in the future, please remember this. I won't say anything about the official. Come on, come on. Then, he also took out his mobile phone. Sure enough, there was a signal. But the right to distribute the supplies is in my hands, right? Yes, yes. Dial the phone. Su Lin directly asked Liang Crossing to come to the military base to prepare to move the supplies. Then, he also looked at Zhao Ang. These supplies originally belonged to Chunfeng City. Now they are just returned to their original owners. Of course, your military base will also leave a batch. As for firearms and weapons, give them to you. Give them to you. All of them are given to you. No, you can continue to use the Chunfeng army to act. As you said just now, you still have soldiers to feed. It's up to you to decide what to do. Okay, thank you, Su Lin. Zhao Ang said very sincerely. Only by having an arsenal can you find a little sense of security in this world. Not to mention the military base. It is simply an existence with a sense of security. Even if the supplies have been distributed. As long as there is still an arsenal. The Chunfeng army is still in a very strong position. It's okay. As for the supplies, I have asked someone to come and install them. Let Liang Crossing of Human Glory and the NIU Dahan who came with me give priority. After Su Lin solved all the armored vehicles in a flash and brutally killed Qiu Yang, NIU Dahan also reunited with Su Lin. He was already so surprised that he couldn't close his mouth. For a moment, he didn't know how to talk to Su Lin. He could only follow him blankly. When Su Lin said this, he finally had time to react. He nodded repeatedly and said, "Thank you, Su Lin. Say this." Su Lin waved his hand, stretched his waist, and put his hand directly on Zhao Ying's shoulder. "Sergeant, I have something to discuss with you." "You say it. Although I don't need the guns and ammunition, can you please leave some for me? NIU Dahan doesn't need it. Leave it to Liang Crossing." "No problem, no problem." Zhao Ying nodded repeatedly. Although he didn't know this Liang Crossing, but Su Lin just made a special call to Liang Crossing. I think Liang Crossing is also a very important person to Su Lin. He had to agree immediately. "Okay, take me to load the liquid nitrogen. Here, in our arsenal." "Well, let me ask you something. If I ask you to catch a firefly now, where would you go?" This. Zhao Ying was stunned, frowning, as if he was thinking about something. "I seem to have heard something on the radio. In the city next to us, Fission City, all the insects there have mutated and turned into big bugs. The people inside are all gone. Maybe there are fireflies in Fission City." "Oh." Su Lin raised his eyebrows. "If that's the case, we can indeed look for this firefly from a different angle. But I'm afraid that in Fission City, the genetically mutated fireflies will be very different." "Thank you. I just happen to want to catch a firefly to play with. I'm afraid." Zhao Ying was a little confused, but didn't dare to say anything. Soon, they arrived at the armory. This armory is divided into several floors. The underground floor is specially made to store materials that need to be preserved at low temperatures. After putting on special work protective clothing, the two of them walked in. "This is the liquid nitrogen you want. Do you really not need us to help you transport it? If you don't handle it properly, the liquid nitrogen will be useless." It's okay. Su Lin waved his hand and directly put the big bucket of liquid nitrogen into the space pocket. In this way, the ice shooter can be directly synthesized. A pea shooter plus a bucket of liquid nitrogen equals ice shooter. Very simple. Pea shooter can be planted in minutes, but this liquid nitrogen is difficult to deal with. Seeing the bucket of liquid nitrogen in front of him disappear directly, Zhao Ying didn't dare to ask any more questions, even if he was surprised. Anyway, Su Lin had shocked him enough, and it didn't matter if he waited for a while. After successfully collecting the liquid nitrogen, the two left the armory. Liang Crossing also rushed over with a large group of people. "Yo." Seeing Su Lin, Liang Crossing immediately smiled and said, "The phone called me urgently to bring people over. I thought it was still a fight." "What? It's over so soon?" "Yeah, I've prepared some good things for you. Look, this is the kingdom I've conquered for you. These are." Liang Crossing was a little surprised when he saw the piles of supplies in front of him, which looked like small mountains. "Do you know about the Chunfeng army?" "I know. I've heard that they have an arsenal and a lot of Chunfeng city's relief supplies. It seems that the leader is the Mayor Qiu Yang." Su Lin smiled and said, "From today on, there will be no Qiu Yang." Huh? Wait, this military base was originally the territory of the Chunfeng army. "Yes." Then, Su Lin roughly explained what happened. "You defeated the entire Chunfeng army by yourself? How about otherwise?" Su Lin raised his eyebrows. To be honest, what can be his opponent now is no longer this kind of guns and ammunition. Only those with genetic mutations can fight against them. Awesome. What are you going to do with these supplies? It's originally Chunfeng City's relief supplies, so naturally they are evenly distributed to various salvation organizations. I'm familiar with you, so I'll let you move first. Ha ha ha. Then I won't be polite. Look at what you said, and this is NIU Dahan. He also has an organization with quite a lot of people in it. You can arrange it yourself. Su Lin looked at NIU Dahan. NIU Dahan immediately showed a grateful look. He was a little bit exhausted at first and wanted to get in touch with Human Glory. Unexpectedly, Su Lin built a bridge for him. Then Su Lin lowered his voice and said, "The one next to me is Zhao Ying. After Qiu Yang died, he became the leader here. I asked him to leave some weapons for you. You can choose it yourself. Okay everyone, I'm leaving. Su Lin waved his hand and left with a smile. Where are you going? Liang Crossing was a little amused. The person on the other end of the phone was so anxious. It turned out that they were sending weapons and food. Go catch bugs. Chapter 141. Feishan City, where giant insects are rampant. Liang Crossing's mouth twitched. He stared at Su Lin's back as he left. What does catching bugs mean? Su Lin was lucky to say it. That. Niu Dahan on the side swallowed his saliva and looked straight at Liang Crossing. Hello, I'm the leader of the heroic resistance army. Oh, hello. I'm the leader of the human glory, Liang Crossing. I have heard of you for a long time. Niu Dahan was very respectful, his eyes full of respect for Liang Crossing. A woman who has only appeared in Chunfeng City for a while. First, she has no military force. Second, no supplies, and she herself has no superpowers. The human glory she created has quietly entered the top 3 salvation organizations in Chunfeng City. Everyone who has come into contact with the human glory said, Liang Crossing, this person is not simple, his personality charm is bursting. No wonder Niu Dahan wanted to join the human glory before. That. Niu Dahan summoned up great courage. I have taken in quite a few people here, all of whom make a living by hunting mutant creatures, but they have been struggling recently. I wonder if I can get your protection. Liang Crossing smiled and said calmly, it's not up to me to decide this matter now. How about leaving a contact number? Let's meet again another day to discuss this matter. Seeing Liang Crossing's polite answer, Niu Dahan scratched his head a little embarrassedly. It seems that he was still impatient. How could he make such a direct request right away? Okay then. On the other side, Zhao Yang also took the initiative to deal with Liang Crossing. He was completely subdued by Su Lin. Even if Su Lin is not here, he will still do things according to Su Lin's instructions. After a self-introduction, Liang Crossing also asked directly, since Qiu Yang is dead, will the current Chunfeng army be the same as before? What do you think? Zhao Yang smiled bitterly. If we didn't know what responsibilities and goals we soldiers have in such a chaotic world before, how could we not know after being educated by Su Lin? Ha ha ha. Well said. Then, please come this way, Miss Liang. Zhao Yang lowered her voice. Su Lin specifically told me that the arsenal here is fully open to you. Hey, you're welcome. Liang Crossing smiled. When Liang Crossing came to the arsenal and saw so many guns and weapons, she wanted to call Su Lin back on the spot and give him a big hug. It's so dazzling. You know, up to now, there is only one superpower in the glory of mankind. It is Li Da. But Li Da has a superpower in the field of medicine. In other words, the glory of mankind does not have the ability to protect itself. Just when Liang Crossing was worried about this, Su Lin sent a big gift directly. I'm really grateful. And what about Su Lin? Originally, after riding on the off-road motorcycle, he was thinking about placing the sunlight transmission array in front of the military base. It is convenient for him to travel directly. But after thinking about it, he decided to wait until he came back from Feishan City. There is no rush now. Who knows what will happen later? Feishan City is only an hour's drive away from here. Su Lin roared past. There was no car along the way, and he accelerated madly and soon arrived at the vicinity of Feishan City. When he came to its suburbs, he was a little stunned. This Feishan City is very different from Chunfeng City or Chaoshu City. An extremely weird atmosphere enveloped the entire city. Not to mention that there is no human figure here. Just the vines that wrap around the entire city are enough to make people feel creepy. From a distance, you can also see the dense spider webs between the buildings. The spider web was so big that it could wrap a building tightly. There were countless silkworm pupae on it, human-shaped silkworm pupae. Su Lin swallowed his saliva. He looked at the corpses under his feet in a daze. The corpses looked like dried corpses whose blood and bone marrow had been sucked out. Su Lin stopped the off-road motorcycle. The roads in Feishan City were all bumpy with various vines and trees. Cars could no longer drive in, so they could only walk forward. Has Feishan City really become a territory for insects? When he squatted down to check the situation of the dried corpses, Unexpectedly, a grasshopper fell from the sky. The sound of its wings flapping was obviously not enough to sneak attack. Su Lin, who noticed something approaching, looked at the sky vigilantly. This grasshopper must be 3 meters in size. A huge monster. The sound of its flapping wings blew Su Lin's hair, and he was almost blown away. This grasshopper must have taken hormones. Just as Su Lin took out his pistol and prepared to defend himself, suddenly, a sharp and piercing sound almost pierced Su Lin's eardrum. This was not the roar of a beast, but a low-frequency resonance. A big spider, suddenly jumped out from the rooftop of a high-rise building. It directly hit the grasshopper that was still flying in the air. The grasshopper was hit and directly hit into the building on the side. The spider opened its little mouth and began to eat the grasshopper. The grasshopper wailed in pain. It tried to fight back, but it lost the initiative. I'm afraid the grasshopper itself would not have thought of such a sneak attack. The spider relied on its 8 strong thighs to leap and pounce, and under the huge impact force, it almost knocked out the grasshopper's internal organs. Su Lin, who had escaped the disaster, was stunned. This is probably a scene that can only appear in movies. Giant insects vs giant insects. Su Lin didn't know how big the big spider was. At a quick glance, the spider's legs were probably as long as a bus. It was just one section. If the whole spider leg was extended, it would probably be as long as 2 or 3 buses. Oh my god. No wonder there is no one in the entire Phoenician city. TSK. Su Lin swallowed his saliva. He was a little nervous. Now the plant possession can be used 3 times. Only 3 chances. He has already begun to consider whether to put the sunlight teleportation array here and come back tomorrow. Anyway, the golden beans can be refreshed every day. There will be 5 opportunities to use it tomorrow. Try it first. If it's too dangerous, just retreat directly. If you stay here for too long. Just as Su Lin was thinking this, a rustling sound came. One by one, huge black shadows slowly passed in front of Su Lin. There were ants as big as cars. They passed by in rows, countless ants. Their habits were the same as before. They were transporting food in a very united way, and their food was a firefly. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 142, Battle with the Giant Insect. Seeing the fireflies carried by these ants, Su Lin was so excited. Although this firefly was probably dead, if you can see a dead firefly, there must be a living firefly. The fireflies required by the material must be alive. Forget about the one in front of you. Su Lin also hid quickly to avoid being discovered by these ants. Otherwise, Su Lin himself didn't know how to deal with it. This group of ants in front of him were as big as cars. According to the direction from which the ants came, Su Lin initially determined the location of the fireflies. He immediately walked straight in that direction. Of course, he was extremely cautious. He was afraid that he would disturb the various insects around. As he walked along, he saw all kinds of shocking things. This is no longer the kind of city inhabited by humans. All kinds of houses and buildings have been destroyed. There are potholes everywhere, and corpses and debris everywhere. Either they were sucked dry, or their hands and feet were broken. In addition to human corpses, there are also various giant insects. As the insects get bigger, their excrement also gets bigger. The air is full of various stench, and the rotten smell of corpses made Su Lin almost vomit. During this period, Su Lin encountered a praying mantis that was more than 3 meters long. Seeing that it had been discovered, and the mantis was rushing up with its sickle waving, Su Lin had to be forced to fight. He took out his pistol, aimed at its head, and fired a few shots. But when the bullet touched the mantis, it didn't go as expected. It went straight into the forehead, and was directly bounced off. It was as if all the bullets hit steel. It's really tough. Just like the last time I dealt with a wild dog, conventional means are no longer useful. After pursing his lips, Su Lin rushed up without hesitation. Since firearms and ammunition are no longer useful for these mutant creatures, then use coercive force. While running, Su Lin directly took out the man-eating shark from the space pocket. Swinging the man-eating shark, he was just like an ancient swordsman. A swordsman with a man-eating shark. With a sudden leap, Su Lin jumped in front of the mantis's head. He chopped the mantis hard. Ding. Unexpectedly, the mantis seemed to sense the danger. It did not use its head to resist Su Lin's attack. Instead, it folded its feet and blocked the sickle on its forelimbs in front of it. It blocked Su Lin's attack. Fire splashed everywhere. The mantis bounced Su Lin away. Su Lin, who was bounced away, was a little autistic. Although the sickle on its forelimbs was slightly cracked, this mantis is so smart. ? In addition to the compound eyes unique to insects, human actions seem as slow as a turtle to it. Can it still fight? It can't be fought at all. With a gorgeous turn, Su Lin landed safely. He squinted his eyes and stared at the mantis as it turned around and ran away immediately. If he continued to fight, Su Lin was confident that he could defeat the mantis with his brute force and the weapon man-eating shark. But he was afraid that there were other insects around. Once he was surrounded by these giant insects, it would be dangerous. It was like crying to the heavens and the earth, but no one could help. The big mantis didn't expect that the prey it had caught would fly away like this. After hesitating for a moment, it immediately took a few big steps and chased after it. Seeing this, Su Lin rushed directly into the path next to it, kicked the door in, and came to a building. The mantis was stunned on the spot. For a moment, it didn't know what to do. After using the sickle of its forelimbs to chop this reinforced concrete a few times, it decisively chose to give up. Its forelimbs were not yet at the point of being able to cut iron like mud. In addition, it was injured in the head-on collision with Su Lin just now. If it rushed in at the cost of its own life, it might be able to catch Su Lin inside. But there was no need for that at all. Without this prey, there must be other prey. The compound eyes of the big mantis rotated several times, and it looked like it was thinking about something. Then it left in disgrace like a defeated rooster. Su Lin, who had been hiding by the window and observing the mantis's actions, was a little surprised. That mantis, whether it is the reaction at the moment of attack or my action of hiding here, it feels like it is intelligent. I have never heard of such a thing. If these insects, or mutant creatures, have a certain degree of intelligence, then humans are probably in big trouble. Su Lin gritted his teeth. The most terrifying thing about insects is their reproduction speed, that is to say, quantity. Not to mention that the insects at this time have become giant insects because of genetic mutations. If there are such a number, such a weight, plus a certain degree of intelligence, then humans will be in danger. Forget it. Su Lin shook his head. The most important task now is to find fireflies. Why bother so much? After confirming again and again, the mantis has gone far away. Su Lin hurried out and ran along the avenue. Along the way, all kinds of giant insects appeared one by one. Fortunately, Su Lin had a strong sense and was able to find the shadow of the giant insect at the first time, so he could avoid it smoothly. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. Finally, when Su Lin came to a relatively large square, he found the target of this trip: fireflies. Giant fireflies. There are not only fireflies here, there are also 2 big spiders and 5 or 6 big cockroaches. The poor firefly seemed to have gone astray. It was trapped in the spider web. It struggled hard. At the same time, it attracted the attention of the spider. Just when the 2 spiders had a dispute over this food, the appearance of the cockroach directly made them unanimously face the outside world. It was like the communication was completed in an instant, and the external enemy was solved first, and then an internal conflict was started. Originally, Su Lin could wait for these insects to have a big battle to decide the winner, and come to the aureole behind. But, no, if this goes on, I don't know if this firefly will be killed by the spider web. I want the firefly alive. As the firefly continued to struggle, the spider web became more and more tightly entangled. If he didn't take action, the firefly would be suffocated to death. Thinking of this, Su Lin rushed up without hesitation. When he passed the ruins, spiders and cockroaches discovered Su Lin at the same time. Su Lin used plant possession without hesitation. I saw. A boomerang appeared in his hand. He threw it directly at the firefly. Whoosh. When the boomerang touched the spider web, it directly cut off the resilient spider web. And when it touched the spider circle of the firefly, it was absorbed. It turned around and flew towards Su Lin's direction with the firefly. Su Lin stretched out his other hand. The moment he touched the firefly, he directly put it into the space pocket. Collection successful. Get, live fireflies. Chapter 143. Wrong. Start over. The boomerang just now was the ability of the boomerang shooter. When he used plant possession, Su Lin was able to obtain 20 boomerangs. In addition to causing powerful damage, the boomerangs could also carry back anything they touched on the path according to Su Lin's needs. It could be said that it could not only attack, but also pull the enemy over and beat him up. Let's go. Su Lin turned around and ran away without hesitation. Unexpectedly, the moment he turned around, a huge black shadow enveloped him. Subconsciously, he immediately rolled to the other side. Ants. Huge ants. Or the kind of worker ants with huge sharp teeth. The dark shadow just now was the shadow caused by it opening its bloody mouth and gnawing. Fortunately, Su Lin reacted quickly. Otherwise, he would have become the food on the plate of the ant. But before he could curse at the ant, Su Lin had already begun to have a headache. It's not good. The appearance of ants means that there is not just one here, but a large group. There are densely packed ants in front of him. Big ants. Ants as big as cars. There must be about 30 of them. After calming down, Su Lin turned around and ran away. He just wanted to curse. After climbing over the ruins, the big spiders and cockroaches just now were all staring at him. For a moment, he didn't know whether it was because Su Lin robbed their prey that they were so united to face the outside world, or maybe their wisdom was telling them that there was an enemy here. Su Lin obviously didn't have time to think about this. He stomped down with his right foot and was about to run to the side and slip away from the other side. But the ants had surrounded him. Damn, they can also fight in an encirclement. Su Lin's mouth twitched as he snapped his fingers. A boomerang appeared out of thin air on his left hand. In this way, I can only fight, if possible. Su Lin really didn't want to place the sun teleportation array here. This place is too dangerous. Once placed, you have to visit it in person to retrieve it. Solar teleportation array? It's just a last resort. It's not time yet. Su Lin rushed towards the nearest ant. With a flick of his right hand, the man-eating shark. As he jumped forward, his body rotated at an incredible angle, throwing it out through the inertial force brought by the rotation. Boomerang. The angle is so tricky that its target is obviously more than one insect. Just as he jumped up and threw the boomerang, Su Lin swung his left hand and grabbed the handle of the man-eating shark. He chopped with both hands. He chopped hard at the ant in front of him. How could the ant surrender? It lowered its head slightly and then suddenly threw its head. No, it should be said that its jaw up, trying to fight Su Lin with its hard teeth. Ding. Fire splashed. The stalemate continued. Go to hell. Stinky ant. Su Lin in the air continued to press down hard. Swish. With all his strength, Su Lin finally used brute force to use the great shark to cut the ant in half. Swish. The body was cut off. Blood splattered everywhere. Su Lin resisted the nausea and reached behind him. He took the boomerang without even looking at it. It turns out that the blood of ants is also red. It's so smelly. I want to vomit. Su Lin shivered and turned to look at the giant insects. The angle of the boomerang was very good just now. It first blew a big cockroach in the head, and then it kept spinning and blew the heads of 2 ants in succession. Finally, on the way back, it broke the 2 legs of the spider. Su Lin was a little excited. This boomerang is not that big, just an ordinary size, but it can do things that even guns and ammunition can't do. It really deserves the ability of plant possession. Then continue. There are still 18 boomerangs on hand. He stabbed the great shark hard and slammed it into the ground. Su Lin waved his palm. 4 boomerangs appeared in each of his left and right hands. Go to hell. He swung his right hand. He threw his left hand. 4 boomerangs flew out at different angles, like a shotgun meteor. Come again. After throwing 4 boomerangs again, Su Lin waved his hand and firmly grasped the man-eating shark. Just like that, he pressed against the ground and rushed up. He threw himself into the battle again. If there was someone behind Su Lin, he would definitely remember this shocking scene. There were all kinds of giant insects all around. They bared their teeth and stared at Su Lin with their cold compound eyes. But Su Lin still rushed up without hesitation. Go forward bravely. In front of him, there were 8 boomerangs spinning and flying. Like satellites, they escorted him. When he was about to crash into the ant, Su Lin stopped suddenly and used the sword slash from the ground. This knife naturally couldn't cut the ant's head. But Su Lin's goal was not the head, but the feet. With a click of a knife, the poor ant squeaked in pain and then fell to the ground. After losing several feet, it could no longer maintain its balance and could only fall flat on its face. Sure enough, Su Lin dodged while continuing to chop the other feet of the ant. His man-eating shark was enough to cut iron like mud. But against a giant insect, it was powerless. Su Lin also understood why. Whether it was the sickle of the mantis's forelimbs or the giant jaws of the ant, they were their hardest parts. If you resist them head-on, you won't get much benefit. It's better to attack their weak points. It's funny to say, the insects have indeed become bigger, like prehistoric giants, which makes people feel panic. But at the same time, their stress points have become more obvious. You can even distinguish the front and back feet of the ant. After chopping off all the feet of the ant, it's just a poor, bloated waste that can't move. With a backhand grab, before attacking another ant, Su Lin waved his hand and took back all the boomerangs he had just thrown. 8 boomerangs, a great record. The heads of 9 giant insects, the lower bodies of 3 giant insects, and the feet of 5 giant insects exploded. After clearing out so many densely packed giant insects, Su Lin's confidence also soared. The man-eating shark that swung at the ant also used more force. But a firefly suddenly rushed out from a place that Su Lin had never noticed. It knocked Su Lin away directly. He almost spit out a mouthful of blood in his chest. This firefly was somewhat familiar, and there were white fluffy threads on its body. Damn, there are fireflies? Wait. Su Lin seemed to realize something and looked at the space pocket. Sorry, there are no fireflies in the space pocket at all. Su Lin also suddenly reacted. The space pocket cannot hold living things. This is a waste of time. This firefly was captured by Su Lin just now, but because of the characteristics of the space pocket, it was repelled. Before Su Lin finished cursing, there was a violent vibration on the ground. A dark shadow broke out of the ground and pounced on Su Lin, rising from the ground. Like a train, it directly knocked Su Lin into the sky. Chapter 144, A Song of Ice and Fire. Under the violent collision, the man-eating shark was directly knocked away and rolled to the ground. Su Lin was firmly bitten by the behemoth in front of him. Ah, it hurts. Su Lin gritted his teeth. At the critical moment, he stretched out his hands and firmly grasped the giant jaw of the train. Although the whole palm was bleeding, it was better than being cut off in the middle. The severe pain dissipated. Looking closely, in front of Su Lin, there was an ugly and terrifying face. Looking up, there was a segmented body, countless legs, and long tentacles on the head. It turned out to be a centipede. A train centipede. The centipede broke out of the ground and flew 100 meters high with its strong impact. Damn it. Su Lin tried his best and used both hands to hold open the giant jaw of the centipede. When it was almost stretched, he suddenly exerted force, retracted his right hand, and at the same time, clenched his fist and smashed it into the centipede's big eyeball. A piercing whine. The moment the centipede bit again, it loosened its mouth. It fell straight down. Su Lin's right shoulder was also injured by the centipede's bite, and even the white bones under the biceps could be seen. Not to mention his hands. In order to avoid being bitten by the centipede, he held his hands tightly open with blood. The best decision at this time was to directly set up the sunlight transmission array and return to the farm safely. But the fireflies have all run out. Just run away like this? I'm not willing to do that. The only way to collect the living fireflies may be to take out the dogtail and synthesize them directly on the spot. Fight. Su Lin, who fell from the sky, endured the wind pressure and observed the situation on the ground. There are more giant insects, more ants, spiders, and mantises, and the centipede that is as long as a train and is staring at them. They seem to be united against the outside world. They no longer hurt each other, and all stared at the black shadow in the sky with full vigilance. We must make a quick decision. Su Lin, who was enduring the severe pain, kept throwing out boomerangs with both hands, throwing out the remaining 10 boomerangs. At the same time, Su Lin activated the ability of plant possession again. Frozen plants, right. At this stage, Su Lin has a total of 2 types of frozen plants. Frozen lettuce and mistletoe ice fairy. The ability of mistletoe ice fairy is probably to cause huge lethality. I can't be ruthless yet. Then I'll freeze the lettuce. In an instant, Su Lin's appearance changed drastically. His pupils turned milky white, and even his hair turned light blue and white. A cold breath floated all over his body. Even white snow dots appeared around him. The ability of frozen lettuce's plant possession is to turn into a sun of ice, lasting for 10 minutes. You can choose whether to freeze anything you touch. And this so-called contact has an effective distance of 3 meters. Su Lin froze his wound without hesitation to avoid falling into coma due to excessive bleeding. And at the moment of falling to the ground, he froze the air, directly buffered the gravity of the fall and landed safely. Seeing Su Lin appear again, the giant insects rushed up directly. Su Lin waved his hand calmly, directly froze the nearest giant insect. With a brisk step and a knife, he directly smashed the ice sculpture of the ant. The frozen ant didn't understand how it died until it died. Was it frozen to death? Or was it smashed into pieces and died? The centipede even took nearly 100 steps and rushed towards Su Lin fearlessly. Su Lin sneered and whispered softly, "Will I be afraid of you now?" Su Lin didn't even need to move himself. When the centipede approached Su Lin within 3 meters, it froze into a big ice sculpture. Just like that, Su Lin swaggered towards the fireflies in the distance. It looked like it was sentencing the firefly to death. Bing bing bing. Wherever it passed, it turned into ice. Just as Su Lin was about to reach the firefly, he quickly cancelled the ability of frozen lettuce. He immediately took out the dogtail and rushed forward. After bending down to avoid the firefly's bite attack, he pressed the dogtail directly on it. Select and synthesize. The firefly and the dogtail merged together and disappeared. Ding, congratulations on the collection of materials. Get lightning read. At this time, Su Lin did not have the time to pay attention to the next reminder from the system. Let's think about how to leave here first. On the open ground, countless giant insects that were pierced to death by boomerangs, and giant insects that turned into large ice sculptures. They were densely packed together. But there are still many giant insects alive. It's endless if we keep going like this. It's better to set fire to this place. Seeing that the reinforcement of the giant insects were increasing, and dozens of scorpions broke in from the side. Scorpions are poisonous. If you are stung by them by accident, death is imminent. Su Lin quickly used the last plant possession of the day. He chose the fire dragon grass, Su Lin's only fire plant. At the same time, it should be the best way to deal with insects. If it is said that Su Lin possessed by the frozen lettuce is the kind of elegant and polite nobleman, then Su Lin possessed by the fire dragon grass is a tyrant. The blood-red pupils vented his anger. The fiery red and upside-down hairstyle highlighted his irritable personality, not to mention the flames surrounding him at this time, and the giant fire dragon faintly emerging behind him. The possession effect of the fire dragon grass is somewhat similar to that of the frozen lettuce. Su Lin can control the flame for 20 minutes. Not only is the time of use greatly extended, but the specific usage is also different. Frozen lettuce is more inclined to self-protection. The target that can be frozen must be within 3 meters of itself. But the fire dragon grass is different. Let Su Lin control the flame at will. It's just like a flame superpower. A 20-minute flame superpower. But Su Lin is confident that his flame, the flame of the fire dragon grass, is definitely stronger than that of Yan Wu. Much stronger. It seems that they have also noticed Su Lin's changes. Perhaps it is also because of the deterrent effect of flame on insects. The insects temporarily slowed down their pace. For a moment, they didn't know what to do. Weren't you still arrogant just now? Come on. Su Lin raised his hand and shot a ball of fire directly from his palm. Peng. The ball of fire that hit a mantis could not cause much damage to it, but the sparks attached to it directly burned. Looking at the mantis burned by the flames, it wailed. Su Lin was overjoyed. It works. Then let's continue. He put his hands together, and flames continued to be released from his palms. Burning. Scorching. The sea of fire instantly enveloped the entire square. None of the insects here could escape. Seeing that these giant insects were completely suppressed, Su Lin also slowly retreated, preparing to leave the city. However, on the rooftop of a high-rise building that he didn't know about, there was a giant ant. It was pot-bellied, so it should be the queen ant. It looked down at the sea of fire below from a high place. In its slowly opened mouth, it muttered, "Human, this is human, this is the power that humans can have." Chapter 145, The Human-like Queen Ant. Although it was a little hesitant, this queen ant, was indeed speaking human language. And right next to it, there were countless human mummies. Perhaps this queen ant had acquired the ability to speak after constantly eating humans. And this queen ant was really too big. If the mutated ants were the size of cars, then this queen ant might be the size of an airplane. Not to mention her belly. HMPH, you're lucky. If it weren't for hatching my child, you would never be able to leave this place. Wait, human, I remember your appearance. When my child is born, I will definitely find you and avenge today. No, I have eaten all the humans in this place. I must go somewhere else to find more food. Otherwise, my child won't get enough nutrition. My child. The queen ant stretched out her claws and gently stroked her belly. You are the hope of all of us insects. This world will definitely be yours in the future. Just bear with it. I will let other insects capture other cities and capture all the humans inside for you. If Su Lin knew that there was such a talking queen ant on the rooftop of a high-rise building at this time, he would probably rush up and kill the queen ant at all costs. It's okay to be huge. It's understandable to have wisdom. Now there are insects that can talk. Question mark? The most terrifying thing is the queen ant's big belly. What kind of creature is being nurtured inside? How can it be so big? Question mark? Not to mention that just to nurture this creature, the entire human race of Fission City is at stake. Not even enough. Question mark? The queen ant is still thinking about conquering other human cities. Question mark? A violent storm has gradually gathered dark clouds, just waiting for a specific time to explode. Su Lin, who was fighting and retreating, has retreated to the edge of the city. Obviously, fire is really the natural enemy of insects. No matter how big these insects are, no matter how strong their shells are, they can't resist the burning of fire. And Su Lin intentionally or unintentionally released the flames towards the houses and buildings. The purpose is just to burn down the entire Fission City. Anyway, there is no one here, and it has become the territory of insects, so it is better to burn it down directly. Looking at the city in front of him, it was engulfed in flames. Su Lin sighed, silently saying, "Unknown residents of Fission City, I have avenged you. Have a good journey." After that, Su Lin rode on an off-road motorcycle and left Fission City. He left the air full of the smell of burnt protein. Su Lin, who mistakenly thought that he had burned the entire Fission City, would never have thought that. Not long after he turned around and left, the ground of Fission City made several bangs. Not just one place, but the whole place. It was like an earthquake. But it was not an earthquake, but countless giant centipedes that drilled out directly from the ground. They did not hide in the safe ground, but chose to break out of the ground in order to detonate the underground water source. Boom. 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 Countless water pipes burst open, and the rushing groundwater all surged from the ground. Like an underground fountain, it gradually extinguished the extremely raging fire. Countless insects were buried in this fire. More insects sensed the danger and hurriedly left Fission City. In this fire, the insects that survived, an extremely strange scene appeared. After half of their bodies were burned by the fire, some insects were still surviving, as if they were thriving, and their bodies were recovering at a very fast speed. The recovery was visible to the naked eye. The limbs that grew back seemed to contain a brand new energy. This may also be a manifestation of gene mutation. Otherwise, it is really hard to explain why half of the body can grow so quickly. My child, the queen ant stroked her belly and looked down. The fire has gradually gone out. Our era will eventually come, and then it will be your era. As for Su Lin, after all, he had been seriously injured before. The whole piece of flesh on his palm was gone, and his shoulder was in great pain. If he hadn't used the energy of ice to freeze the wound at the beginning, he would have lost too much blood and fainted. Now he is even more alert, driving back to Chunfeng City at high speed. I don't know if there is still a signal now. Su Lin edited a text message to Liang Crossing while driving a motorcycle. He wanted to know where the base of human glory was at this time. Or in other words, where Dr. Li Dab was. He urgently needed treatment. After driving back to Chunfeng City, Liang Crossing's reply also came. According to the address on the text message, Su Lin quickly came to a building, and Liang Crossing had been waiting for a long time. The sun was setting. A large area of dusk sprinkled on Liang Crossing's face, making her beauty even more prominent. Seeing Su Lin coming, several strong men behind Liang Crossing directly took out machine guns. Yes, it was a machine gun. The machine gun transported from the military base. Of course, the target was not Su Lin, but a group of people who followed Su Lin closely. They also rode modified motorcycles. Holding weapons, they were chasing Su Lin fiercely. Damn it. Su Lin glared at the rear view mirror fiercely. As soon as he entered Chunfeng City, he was targeted by this group of people. However, he was not feeling well and was driving a motorcycle. He could not fight back. He had to hurry on. Liang Crossing seemed to have a premonition. He had people waiting early. Remember, don't hurt anyone by mistake. Just shoot the bastards behind. Yes. In the glory of humanity, the first to use firearms were retired veterans. They were not only responsible for the defense work at this time, but also responsible for teaching other members to use firearms. Aim and pull the trigger. Crazy shooting. There is no need to show mercy to deal with the thugs now. Sure enough, force can solve everything. Under the continuous machine gun fire, the thugs chasing Su Lin all fled. The unlucky ones were directly shot to death. Walking in such a hail of bullets, Su Lin was scared and broke into a cold sweat. He trembled continuously and came to Liang Crossing, complaining uncontrollably. Aren't you afraid of hitting me? It's okay. They are all retired soldiers. Their marksmanship is good. Then, Liang Crossing looked at Su Lin tenderly. Are you injured again? Chapter 146. Healing and Return. Yeah. Seeing Liang Crossing, Su Lin's heart finally relaxed. He staggered and almost fell down. Fortunately, Liang Crossing was quick and supported Su Lin. Are you okay? Coming quickly. I just received your text message and asked Lida to prepare it. Yeah. Just like that. Su Lin was directly supported by Liang Crossing into the building. A quick glance. This building is still a bit tricky, not to mention the defense work at the gate. Various sandbags are piled up. There are also buckets and wooden barrels placed there. It can withstand most of the impact. This building was a shopping mall before. It is 6 stories high. Each floor is arranged in an orderly manner. The organization of combat personnel, the work of logistics personnel, the residence of ordinary personnel. This orderliness gives people a sense of extreme security. More importantly, although there are not many people in the whole building, it is also full of a gentle feeling, and there is no stench of excrement. This place feels good. Su Lin said involuntarily. It's okay. We took advantage of your momentum and used the arsenal of the military base to storm it. It can be regarded as a temporary base for the glory of mankind. Is this temporary? It seems that Miss Liang is really ambitious. Stop talking nonsense and treat him quickly. Leader, I've sent the person to you. Okay. Liang Crossing sent Su Lin directly to the medical room, converted from an office. Leader, who was already wearing a white coat, was preparing inside. When he saw Su Lin, Leader frowned and complained. Hey, you're injured again. Thank you for your help. No, it's as it should be. It's just that your physique is too strong. Leader rolled his eyes and let Su Lin lie on the simple bed. Liang Crossing asked anxiously, how is he? Is he okay? Boss, Leader blinked. Didn't we agree that you should not come in when I'm treating him? Go out. Go out. Well, if there's anything I can do for you, you must tell me. Okay. Leader pushed Liang Crossing out impatiently. After closing the door, Leader looked at Su Lin. You are obviously injured and bleeding too much. According to the normal amount of bleeding, you should have died long ago. I didn't expect you to stay awake. Last time too, you were determined. I can understand. But the recovery speed after treatment was too fast. Good people will be blessed by heaven. Okay. Lee shrugged and then snapped his fingers. A gentle and faint light bloomed all over his body. Wow. Super transformation? Transform you. This is my superpower. A superpower scalpel. Huh. You superpowers all have superpower names. No, I chose it myself. Lee smiled shyly, obviously having a second year syndrome. Then I saw. His hands were covered with gloves that appeared out of thin air. There was also a brand new scalpel. This scalpel was tightly wrapped in a layer of green light, and there was an indescribable sense of vitality. Before Su Lin could react and complain about the scalpel, Lida had already taken action. He also said, if it was before, even if you came, I couldn't cure you. You would be weak for a long time. Your problem is that you have lost too much blood, and I don't have a blood bag here. But it's different now. Although my ability is a scalpel, it seems that it can only perform surgery. But as long as it involves medical treatment, it can do it. Not only can it transfuse blood, but it can also repair damaged bones and muscles. The scalpel in Lida's hand is like a work of art, with an incomparable shining light. A set of smooth and flowing. Su Lin only felt as if something was slowly flowing into his body from the tip of the scalpel. It is difficult to describe this feeling in words. It's like some kind of source of life is pouring into his body. The broken part of the palm and the shoulder felt itchy. It's healed. Huh. Su Lin was stunned. It healed so quickly? Yeah, you're not in big trouble. You'll be healed soon. What happened just now? I told you, my scalpel is a universal scalpel. It not only gave you a blood transfusion, but also helped you recover the wound in the bones in your shoulder. So magical? Su Lin moved his shoulder bone, and it seemed it was really healed. The dizziness he had felt before was gone. The whole person felt indescribably comfortable. Thank you, it's really healed, it's really magical. But, Su Lin pursed his lips, and looked at Lida's inconvenient legs and feet. Why don't you give yourself a cut? Do you think a doctor can perform surgery on himself? I tried it, and my scalpel doesn't work on me. Oh, Su Lin nodded, a little regretful. Not only for Lida's situation, but also because, if something happened to Lida, it would be too dangerous without a second doctor. It's okay, I'm used to it. Lida smiled shyly. If this is the price, then I will gladly accept it. After having this ability, I can do surgeries that I couldn't do before. And at this point, Lida smiled even more. Don't say thank you or not. These are all what I should do. If I'm able to save the dying and heal the wounded, then you are the guarantee for everyone to survive. Without your strong support, the glory of mankind cannot be established. Su Lin scratched his head. Then I'll go out first. Well, have a good trip. There is another patient. Push the door and go out. Liang Crossing was waiting anxiously beside him, and immediately stepped forward and said, are you okay? It's okay, you haven't encountered this before. When Lida was treating people, what are you worried about? Just worry. Liang Crossing pursed his lips, not knowing what to say for a while. Thank you. It's getting late. I have to go back too. How about we go together? No, I still have some things to take care of here. Everything is almost ready here too. I plan to leave tomorrow? Probably. Liang Crossing lowered his head. Although they were destined to part, there were still many things that were reluctant to leave when the moment really came. Then come back early tonight, so that I can cook a midnight snack for you. Just consider it as a practice. Yeah. Su Lin smiled, then turned around and prepared to leave, but before leaving, he still said earnestly, by the way, it's best not to go to Feishan City. Why? My injuries are from Feishan City. There are giant insects everywhere over there, and there is not a single person in sight. Be careful there. Okay then. I'll keep an eye on it. Chapter 147 Synthesis. Su Lin, who left the glory of mankind, went to the military base without stopping. Night had fallen. It was pitch black. To be honest, this was the first time Su Lin stayed in Chunfeng City at night. It felt a little scary. Brightly lit. Even the street lights were not on. Not to mention the lights at home. Torches and bonfires were everywhere. It was like living back to the primitive period. Under the cover of the dark night, Su Lin felt a little palpitated. He just wanted to get back to the safe and comfortable farm as soon as possible. As for why he came to the military base first, when he was about 100 meters away from the military base, Su Lin stopped. He took out the sunlight teleportation array from his space pocket. After thinking about it, it would be better to place another teleportation array here. Ding, do you want to place the sunlight teleportation array? Yes, here it is. An open and hidden place behind the tree trunk. Ding, it was placed successfully. Ding, 2 sunlight teleportation arrays are placed successfully. Ding, do you want to use the sunlight teleportation array now? After testing, the current number of people is 1, and the cost is 200 sunlight points. Well, it's okay, only 200, acceptable. By the way, system, what if there are 2 people? 600. Huh. Su Lin frowned. What is the logic of this growth? Originally thought that 1 person was 200, then 2 people would be 400, 10 people. That is 2000, which is still gritting teeth. Ding, according to the teleportation distance, the number of people to be teleported, and the current mood of the system. Well, just pretend I didn't ask. Su Lin rolled his eyes. Mood? A system can still have a mood? People have to bow their heads under the eaves. Su Lin had to accept this overbearing and ruthless rule. Then teleport. Ding, about to teleport to the location of another sunlight teleportation array. Please be prepared. As soon as the system finished the prompt, Su Lin felt a surge of energy vibrating in the air. Pulling his body directly, he began to tear it apart. The pain was only for a moment. In an instant, he disappeared. Then he appeared directly in front of the farm. Are we here now? Su Lin looked at the familiar manor in front of him with some surprise. He couldn't help but mutter in his heart, it's really fast. Hey, it will be much more convenient in the future. After parking the off-road motorcycle, Su Lin pushed the door open and walked in. His friends were all waiting for him. It's already this late, why don't you eat? Waiting for you. Director Liu smiled and immediately called Su Lin to come over for dinner. I'm so sorry, it's too late in the future. You can eat first. I can take care of it myself. After a warm dinner, Su Lin couldn't stop for a moment. After all, he still needed materials to synthesize plants. System, plants vs. Zombies level, farm LV20, plants, sunflower x35, pea shooter x5, sunshine points. 14,987, planting land. 40 defense value. 500 over 500, experience value. 1410/2000, abilities, extraction, gold coin upgrade, plant possession, unlocked plants, sunflower, pea shooter, vertical fruit, potato bud, cabbage shooter, frozen lettuce, torch stump, charm mushroom, kiwi, boomerang shooter, vegetable question, energy flower, fire dragon grass, cherry bomb, steel ground spike, electric green tea, corn pitcher, mistletoe ice fairy, cactus, lightning reed, unlocked blueprint, ice shooter, gold coins. 997, plant advancement, pea shooter, level 4, cabbage shooter, level 3, sunflower, level 2, kiwi, level 2, nuts, level 3, frozen lettuce, level 3. Vegetable question, level 2, potato mine, level 3, fire dragon grass, level 3, cherry bomb, level 3, steel ground spike, level 3, electric green tea, level 3, mistletoe ice fairy, level 2. Corn shooter, level 3, cactus, level 2, brilliant light, LV3, oh my god, I almost forgot about the fusion of lightning reed. Dogtail plus firefly, alive, equals lightning reed. For this alive thing, Su Lin had to fuse it directly outside. He didn't even look at the introduction of lightning reed. Plant, lightning reed, description, send out an arc of electricity, attack the target closest to itself within the 3 rows in front, and cause chain damage to up to 4 adjacent targets. Make sure each target is within a 3x3 range centered on a chain target, sunlight. 125 damage. 10 attack interval. 1.5 seconds, cooling time. 5 seconds, quality, green. This may be a little surprising, but Lightning Reed is a fan of amateur radio. Its nickname is Lightning 0 Lightning 3 Burp 1. Every Tuesday you can listen to it reading classics to older plants on FM. This week's theme, Seeds of Reason and Emotions, Lightning Reed. It has 2 small leaves, and in the middle is the reed grass that ripples with green light. It has cute eyeballs, although the damage is low. But the advantage is that the attack speed is extremely fast, and it can chain attack multiple targets. The lightning passed by with a sizzling sound. No one can escape. But Su Lin knew that for Lightning Reed to really work, it must be advanced. He had this plan in mind. Now, let's make the ice shooter first. Thinking of this, he walked out of the door directly. He selected a pea shooter in the 8th row. He also selected the liquid nitrogen stored in the space pocket. Ding, congratulations on collecting all the materials and unlocking the ice shooter. Ding, congratulations on unlocking the ice shooter, gaining 50 experience points and 200 sunlight points. Plant, ice shooter, description, shoot ice peas to attack the first target in front of you, and shoot 1 ice pea each time you attack. Ice peas can slow down zombies by 50%, lasts 10 seconds, and can extinguish flame sunlight. 150 damage. 20 attack interval. 1.5 seconds, cooling time. 5 seconds, quality, green. Despite his cool appearance, the ice shooter loves his friends and respects the old and loves the young. What is his specialty at parties? Of course, it was a joke. To liven up the crowd, the ice shooter is actually the pea shooter that came from the extremely cold north. They look almost exactly the same. However, the back of the ice shooter's head is not a leaf, but several icicles. Even the iconic pea has turned blue and white. Whether it is damage, attack interval, or cooling time, it is the same as the pea shooter. The only difference is the required sunlight points. The pea shooter only has 100 sunlight points. The ice shooter has 150. Chapter 148 New Mode, Limited Mode. After the fusion is successful, the next step is to upgrade. Su Lin, who has so many sunlight points, was excited to use a gold upgrade. Exchange the sunlight points for gold coins to upgrade the plants. But this exchange rate system, what's going on? Ding, as the level increases, the exchange rate will get lower and lower. That's right. I almost forgot about this. Su Lin was helpless. It seems that if he wants to continue to exchange sunlight points for gold coins and upgrade the plants infinitely, he will have to slow down. I have to find a way to get more gold coins. But I can only get gold coins when fighting zombies. Forget it. Let's just upgrade. Choose plant. Advance. Ding. Congratulations on the successful advancement. Lightning Reed. Level 2. Get high energy lightning. Ding. Congratulations on the successful advancement. Lightning Reed. Level 3. Get overload current. Ding. Congratulations on the successful advancement. Ice Archer. Level 2. Gets condensation. Passive ability as usual. All attributes increased by 50%. And Lightning Reed got the particularly important ability of high energy lightning. High energy lightning. Lightning Reed has a 15% chance to emit high energy lightning, paralyzing zombies for 1 second. Overload current increases the probability of high energy lightning by 100%. In other words, the probability of high energy lightning appearing is about 30%. This is the strength of Lightning Reed. Paralysis in 1 second. If combined with plants with slowing down effect, then don't mention how uncomfortable the zombies will be. They can't even take a step. Continuous slowing down all of a sudden. Instant paralysis all of a sudden. Who can bear it? At this time, Su Lin only has 2 plants with paralysis effect. One is cactus. The other is Lightning Reed. Strictly speaking, the cactus has a paralysis effect in its spike attack. That is to say, the long range attack of the spikes it shoots has no paralysis effect. Only when the zombies come to it, it will shrink to the ground with a plop, revealing its blue spikes, and then it can cause paralysis damage to the zombies. Therefore, the Lightning Reed has deservedly become Su Lin's most important paralysis method. The ability of the ice shooter's condensation is to give the ice shooter a 15% chance to launch icicles, causing triple damage. If the ordinary attack of the ice shooter is just a small snowball, then condensation is a big ice cone. Smash it directly at the zombies. However, Su Lin does not intend to use the two plants pea shooter and ice shooter in the same battle. He habitually uses the pea shooter and torch crown together, thereby launching the flame peas with powerful destructive power. But as the saying goes, ice and fire are incompatible. When the ice shooter launches the ice peas, the zombies are in a frozen state, which causes a deceleration effect. The flame peas melted the ice in an instant. This is not a case of having nothing to do after eating. Similarly, among the ice series plants, Su Lin already has frozen lettuce, mesquite ice fairy, and ice shooter. Obviously, the ice shooter is the main attacker. System: plants vs. zombies. Level: farm LV20, plants, sunflower x35, pea shooter x5, sunshine points. 987, planting land. 40 defense value. 500 over 500, experience value. 1410/2000, abilities, extraction, gold coin upgrade, plant possession, unlocked plants, sunflower, pea shooter, vertical fruit, potato bud, cabbage shooter, frozen lettuce, torch stump, charm mushroom, kiwi, boomerang shooter, vegetable question, energy flower, fire dragon grass, cherry bomb, steel ground spike, electric green tea, corn pitcher, mistletoe ice fairy, cactus, lightning reed, ice shooter, unlocked blueprints, gold coins. 100, plant advancement, pea shooter, level 4, cabbage shooter, level 3, sunflower, level 2, kiwi, level 2, nuts, level 3, frozen lettuce, level 3. Vegetable question, level 2, potato mine, level 3, fire dragon grass, level 3, cherry bomb, level 3, steel ground spike, level 3, electric green tea, level 3, mistletoe ice fairy, level 2. Corn shooter, level 3, cactus, level 2, lightning reed, level 3, ice shooter, level 2, brilliant light, LV3, then what's next? Su Lin stretched and yawned at the same time. Just wait for the zombies at night. After tonight, tomorrow night will be the 14th level. Who knows what kind of powerful creatures will appear tomorrow night. Time ticked by. Su Lin finally waited for this destined moment. The sound of dong 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 came. Su Lin stood up to greet it. Ding, the 13th level. Zombies are coming. Please be prepared. The number of zombies *30 ding. Please note, this level is in zero clearing mode. Limited mode. Ding. Please note, pirates are starting to board the ship. Ding. Please note, because the pirate zombies have appeared, they have temporarily stolen the land. Ding. Please note, in Area A, the land from the 8th to the 6th row, has all been stolen. Limited mode. Su Lin frowned. He could understand the zero clearing mode. To put it bluntly, he himself was used to the zero clearing mode. But what the hell is this limited mode? Ding. Please note, in the limited mode, the plants that cannot be planted will be randomly limited. Ding. The plants that cannot be used in the 13th level are pea shooters, energy flowers, fire dragon grass, cherry bombs, cabbage shooters, and mistletoe ice fairy. Okay, Su Lin looked at the plants with grey patterns in the system. Many grey mud horses appeared in his mind. It's really a system that is very good at finding trouble. System, do I need to thank you? You didn't restrict the sunflower. Ding, you're welcome. I'll screw you. As long as he can plant sunflower, everything is fine. Su Lin pushed the door open and planted the sunflower immediately. According to past experience, there may be zipline zombies, seagull zombies and imp zombie cannons in Area A. Su Lin already has a target plant in mind. A corn pitcher plus a cactus. It can easily deal with the zombies in Area A. As for other areas, the cooling time is up. Su Lin planted sunflower again. Finally, before the first zombie appeared, he had planted 3 sunflowers. An ordinary zombie appeared in Area B. Chapter 149, Adapting to Battle. When this ordinary zombie stepped on the 8th row of land in Area B, it was not warmly welcomed by the plants like its predecessors. Because Su Lin was still waiting. Although he now had 100 sunlight points, he could plant corn pitcher to attack this ordinary zombie. But Su Lin did not plan to plant corn pitcher here. Wait. Keep waiting. Finally, when the ordinary zombie slowly passed through the 8th row and came to the 7th row, with a tang sound, he got 50 sunlight points again. Su Lin directly planted ice shooter in the 2nd row of area B. In addition, the 2nd sunflower also produced 50 sunlight points again. Su Lin quickly planted the 4th sunflower. The limited mode of this level originally limited pea shooter and cabbage pitcher. There was no way to use it. Civilian plants, that is, plants that only need 100 points to plant, only corn pitcher was left. But Su Lin resolutely chose to wait. Wait for another 50 points of sunlight, and then plant the ice shooter directly. The ice shooter lived up to expectations. After breaking out of the ground, it directly fired a small snowball. When the small snowball hit this ordinary zombie, it was like falling into a dye vat. The whole body turned blue. Frozen state. The movement was instantly slowed down. Okay, there is really a world of difference between these 150 and 100. If it were normal, it would be fine. What's the difference between 150 and 100 sunlight points? But in this zero clearing mode, the difference between the 50 sunlight points at the beginning is as big as a gap between heaven and earth. After the appearance of this limited mode, Su Lin's choices in the early stage of the battle were inevitably difficult. Of course. In the final analysis, it was the fault of the zero clearing mode. If there was no zero clearing mode, the zombies would only be full of plants. But, the second zombie also appeared. Area, roadblock zombie. At this time, the sunlight points had been used up. All he could do was wait. Ding 50. Su Lin narrowed his eyes. He made up his mind to plant sunflowers first. In this way, the first row of areas was full of sunflowers. As the saying goes, the army has not set out yet, but the food and grass have arrived first. With such a complete arsenal, Su Lin could concentrate on dealing with zombies by continuously producing sunlight points. Ding. 2 dings. 100 sunlight points were obtained. Although the foot of the roadblock zombie had already stepped on the 6th row of area E, Su Lin still did not plan to plant corn pitcher. He believed that ice shooter would not let him down. Finally, another 100 sunlight points. Su Lin first planted nuts in the 5th row of area E. The appearance of nuts was to buy more attack time for the ice shooter. Then he planted ice shooter in the 2nd row. As if in response to Su Lin, the ice shooter shot out ice cone as soon as it came up. With a sound of duang, the roadblock on the head of the roadblock zombie was knocked down in one encounter. Moreover, the whole body was condensed into frost, staggering and moving slowly, and could only be ravaged by the ice shooter. As for the zombies in area B at this time, they had already been dealt with by the ice shooter. The appearance of 2 roadblock zombies in area C immediately afterwards doubled Su Lin's defensive pressure. However, the arsenal was ready. Su Lin, who had enough sunlight points, was no longer timid. He directly planted the ice shooter in the 2nd row of area C. After a little thought, Su Lin also directly planted the corn pitcher in the 2nd row of area A. It was a matter of time. It didn't matter if I prepared it first. It just so happened that the cooling time of the nuts had also arrived. The 5th row of area A decisively arranged the nuts. In this way, Su Lin also passed the most difficult stage at the beginning. Except for area A, all the 2nd row positions were planted with ice shooters. Obviously, the attack of the ice shooter is not as pleasing to the eye as a pea shooter plus torch crown. I feel that in terms of damage, it is still a little insufficient. But its deceleration effect is still very useful. Thinking of this, for the second main attacker, Su Lin also had a plan and grinned. He spent 125 sunlight points to plant the lightning reed. After all, it has a range of chain attack capabilities. Su Lin directly planted it in the 3rd row of the C area in the center. Bi user loser saw the lightning reed swinging. A current was released from its body and blasted towards the iron bucket zombie in the C area. Although its weak damage is like tickling the iron bucket zombie. But this current will splash. Even the zombies next to the iron bucket zombie are unlucky. In the 2nd round of attacks, the lightning reed was like red eyes, and its body was covered with the color of anger. The iron bucket zombie, which was the first to bear the brunt, was stagnant in place when it was hit by this current, unable to move. Trigger, paralysis effect. Poor barrel zombie. On one hand, it was slowed down by the ice archer, and on the other hand, it was paralyzed from time to time by the lightning reed. Its attack efficiency was far lower than before. It took a long time to cross 2 rows and reach the 6th row, but it was already covered with scars. The barrel that accompanied it and protected it on its head had been destroyed long ago. Hey, it's feasible. This kind of layout is definitely a slowing down flow. Following closely behind, Su Lin also planted lightning reeds in the 3rd row of area A and the 3rd row of area A. In this way, there are 3 lightning reeds in the 3rd row, A, C, E. While they are separated, the suppression of electrical current and firepower is also guaranteed. The attacks of the zombies have become more and more frequent. Even flag zombies have appeared. Su Lin, who has already obtained an energy bean, is not panicking. Look, there are still energy beans. At most, he can just use a big move. He is still waiting for more sunlight points and continues to prepare his own defense line. In area A, the zipline zombies have also begun to land, but it still has to learn how to face nuts after all. When Su Lin saw area A, he was a little surprised. The imp zombie cannon is here so soon. It seems that we have to protect area A first. In a hurry, Su Lin planted the cactus with penetrating attack ability in the 4th row. The cactus can attack the flying rope zombies blocked by nuts, and at the same time penetrate through and attack the immortal zombie cannon at the back. Then the next one is. Just as Su Lin turned his attention to the 3rd row of areas B and D, a heavy footsteps came. He looked up. A huge monster, a pirate giant zombie. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.